Good evening, everybody. This is our very last session for masterclass. We are now at session number 10. Just a reminder, on Wednesday, it's going to be our graduation. So again, 7 o'clock, we're going to present you an e-certificate. With that, we're going to call you in. Maybe some, but I'm not sure if all the moderators, those who shared, will come back to give you a word of encouragement. So that's ending on Wednesday for our graduation. On Friday, we will have our very first bonus session with Mr. Dodong Kakanado. Already advise you guys. I'm going to share also the Zoom link for it. And just like I said, we will allow you to bring a one person invite. You can invite somebody to listen to Dodong on Friday. Maybe your boss, your manager, your spouse, one of your advisors if you're a manager. Just one, kasi we cannot open it because there's a limit for our Zoom. And again, it's a bonus session. It's not part of masterclass technically, but it's one of the very important yan. So very important that you do that. So again, highly recommend that you take it, you attend it, and you can invite somebody. We only ask you to message Mike Enero, no? Si Mike, the guy who's been emailing and stuff. Sabihin mo lang kung sino ini-invite mo because Mike will need to know who it is so that he can allow it to enter. Because we filter may mga pumapasok na hindi enrollment, so I don't know how, but so Mike filters this also. So we will do that. Okay, so yan. So again, sabi ni Mark, our speaker for tonight is inaanak ni Sir Randall. Excuse me. Hindi ko inaanak yung speaker na. Baka baliktad. Inaanak niya yung anak ko sa kasal. Okay. That's one. But hindi ko siya pwede gawin inaanak. Okay. So, yan. So, we're gonna start our session. So, just a final reminder, Wednesday is going to be our graduation. Friday is going to be our first session. Dodong Kakanado, please do not miss him. He's been part of Masterclass bonus session since the beginning. And on Monday, it's going to be my bonus session for you. Okay, so I'm talking about Money by the Book. Again, all of you can invite somebody. Just one. Kasi we have a limit. No? We have a limit of who we can allow. Just one, but you need to register that with Mike Enero. Okay, so you just register with Mike and then we will allow them to come in for tonight. So, are you ready? Gusto ko lang malaman, ready na ba kayo? Okay, no recording for the bonus sessions. No recording for the bonus session. Ready na ba kayo? Okay? Sino ready na? Kung sabihin mo ready, type nyo nga ready. Tingnan ko lang malaman kung ready na ba kayo? Ready na ba kayo matuto? Ready. Ayan. Dating na yung mga ready. So, I'd like to introduce, I don't want to do a very formal introduction. I'm not going to read his CV. It's all online. Just quick CV lang for my friend and my boss and my mentor. Started his career with Film Life, joined as a staff, went up the corporate ladder. He left film briefly, moved, started businesses on himself, and then eventually became an advisor also, was an MDRT during this time, was asked to go back to Film Life to become the president of the Film Asset Management, or PAMI, who he grew it to become the second largest mutual fund at that time. And eventually, he was asked to move back to Film Life, the parent company, to be the if I remember, SMART, sales and marketing team or something like that. No, so he was EVP for that. He moved to Ayala Land for briefly, where he was head of sales and marketing, and he is part or credited for as the brand architecture that created this Avida, Alveo, Amaya, Ayala Land Premier, and really brought Ayala Land to a different level. After with Ayala Land, he moved back again to Film, became its CEO. During his time, they became the Film Life, which part of AIA, became the champion in their region or something like that, and stayed a little bit after CEO-ship, was a consultant. But all this time, since way back, he started Rampber, okay, and grew Rampber, and then eventually focused on Rampber after his film stint. Rampber is the largest distributor of mutual funds today. So Rex is a one of the mainstays of Truly Rich Club, okay, the mastermind for Bo Sanchez. He at one time he was a professor for the DLSU Masteral class. He's an investor, co-owner of many businesses, too many to mention, but I'll mention some of them. Blue Leaf, that event place, Technomarine, that watch, and many others. Okay, he is for me, of course, I'm biased, no? He's probably the best thought leader when it comes to the financial services. He is the mentor. He's my mentor, the mentor of mentors. I look up to him. He has done so much for me. I to a great degree I credit my where I am because of the mentorship and the friendship that I have with this guy. And for the very first time since last year we started masterclass, he has ako sobrang humbled and sobrang honored that he agreed to be one of the faculty, a regular faculty of the masterclass. And for the very first time, we are introducing his class, okay? Establishing or building a successful financial advisory business. But knowing Rex, it's gonna go beyond that. So without further ado, Boss Rex, can I put you up in a video? Are you here already? Yan. Sige. So Boss Rex, kamusta? Sorry, I didn't make it too very formal, but there's more to that. All these achievements in UP and all these things. But wala nang oras pag binanggit ko po lahat yan. Okay? So how are you guys?
Thank you so much, Randel. Alam mo naman tayo, mutual admiration society tayo.
Really, nice to see you. And thank you again, boss. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. It's so humbling. And ako sobrang ako excited na marinig ka nila. I'm sure some of them have heard you, but as you know, this masterclass is now catering to a much younger, newer generation. Kasi 'di ba, alam mo naman, 'di ba, we're preparing the next kasi hindi naman sana mamaalam na tayo, no? Pero we have to prepare for the next generation. And I want to introduce this younger, new mobile, very young group of financial advisors to somebody who is really has not just made the mark in the industry, but really helped change the lives of a lot of people. So without further ado, turning over to Boss ng Bayan, my mentor, Boss Rex Mendoza.
Thank you so much, Randel. Again, an honor for me to be here. Ito lang, I was chatting with, I don't know if these are kids of Eva and Bert Austria, who I go a long way back with. No, tagal na natin sa industry to, and I guess it's very important that you all know Randel and I have committed a lot in terms of our own selves within the industry to grow people like all of you. I guess we do have a lot to do for this industry, a lot to do for this market, for the country. I always say this, we will never have a prosperous nation without prosperous individuals and families, and it's incumbent upon all of us to make that happen. Now, syempre, lahat tayo kailangan magtulong-tulungan kasi how many are we? How many would be out there? Sobrang laki, no? That's the reason why I guess I like my topic for tonight. Randel always gives me this, sabihin na lang nating subject matter na para sa mga matatanda na daw at someone who would have gone through the experience and hopefully has the wisdom, but I will have to mention that this is something very close to my heart. I'd hope that through what I have to share, that your view about the business, your view about the industry changes and it elevates your level of commitment, not just for yourself, not just for your family, but for your clientele. That's very important to me. So let me just share my slide first. So do you see my slide?
Yes, boss. Andiyan
okay. So I entitled it The Financial Advisor as an Entrepreneur. Randall told me we'd like to be able to frame your profession, frame your career, and to establish a business. No, now we cannot get into a business if we don't have that entrepreneurial mindset. No, I am so sure you're going to be getting a lot about this from our good friend Dodong Kakanando. No, we always are within a tight circle, and as I tell Randall, alam nyo yung pag nababanggit yung mga pangalan na yan, ano, si Dodong, si Marvin, si Salve, Randall, the reason why I like being with these people is because we have pure alignment, no? Very secure alignment. We wouldn't have a time where we will be arguing about fundamental beliefs and values. We're totally aligned, and that's the reason why I do know that Randall has been able to stitch up quite a masterclass for you. Kasi siguro, like, even with the new people that he has put into the fold, no, as a faculty, and sila Garrett, I mean, I know where their heart stands. I know what they are all about, and I'm really happy that at a very young age they're already sharing with a lot of you. I mean, going back not just a few years, but maybe a number of decades, I'm the culprit. No, I actually pushed Randall to get into this full time. Sabi ko, we cannot rely on the training academies and the training teams of insurance companies, of banks, of other financial services, because let's face it, most of those training organizations will focus you on a certain product set, on a certain objective that would probably forward the interests of the company. And, that's natural. I mean, I've been president of an insurance firm as well, and I know that is quite the regular thing to do, right? However, there needs to be a real perspective about, being holistic. The perspective of being holistic with regard to this business. And that's the reason why, I like it, because somehow being the person who will handle the last session, hopefully I get it to, let's just say, a certain paradigm, a certain set of values that you can take forward within your profession and your careers. So let me define it first. We cannot be someone we cannot define. Pag sinabi mong entrepreneurship kasi, akala ng mga tao, negosyo kagad eh. Okay? So that for me is a very lame way of looking at entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship means a lot deeper than that. If you're going to be looking at the definition, it's a dynamic process of vision, change, and creation. So it's almost like I'm challenging all of you to see the landscape of the industry and think through, ano babaguhin ko dito? What will I be creating for myself? Because if you're going to jump in and do what everybody else has done, then you're not an entrepreneur. A real entrepreneur looks at what the market continues to demand, but on top of that, what the market can actually get to the next level. So if you're an entrepreneur, you don't take an industry as is. You're going to be thinking disruption. You're going to be thinking about added services and added value. It requires an application of energy and passion. Napakabibigat na salita niyan kasi, I've yet to see a successful financial advisor without the passion and the energy. Think about it. Even the quiet ones. I'm not talking about energy and passion na madaldal, na always out there engaging with people. Sometimes they can be the silent ones. The silent ones, but the waters that run deep. Whenever they open their mouth, it means a lot of things. Whenever they sit down with a client, they listen a lot. So they don't talk too much. But the point is, the energy and the passion is there. It's toward the creation and implementation of new ideas and creative solutions. So think about your careers today. Think about what you've learned thus far in this masterclass. And after you finish and graduate, as Randall said, next week, what will you take with you to change the ball game? What will you take with you to immediately create better value than the ones ahead of you? Yung mga contemporaries mo, yung mga mentors mo, what can you add to what they have done? I guess all of these are the questions we have to begin asking ourselves, because you get the baton from someone else. I mean, many of our counterparts, no, the Lulud del Mundos of the world, the Inday Salienteses of the world, the Mary Chans of the world. I mean, marami yan. All across our industries, all across our companies. That being said, I'm not saying, they're gone and they're passé. No, they're still active, in fact. But they've actually taken the ball game to a different level. And it's incumbent upon us to add on to that. Kasi kung kukopyahin lang natin sila, sayang naman. We don't add something or add more value to this industry and to our organizations. That's the reason why entrepreneurship is very, very important. Now, I don't know with you guys, but I hope you agree. The way to start this is to be able to share with you my own story. Kasi I'd want people to understand, over and above the introduction done by Randall, I'd want you guys to understand that I went through the same struggles. I went through the same challenges. And that's the reason why I do what I do today. That's the reason why Randall and I, talk not only here, but even globally, around the world, we take that same message. Because, kumbaga, we did our part. So what do we now want other people to do is to take themselves to that level where we're taking things and treat it as a pedestal. You can step on us, you can step on what we have done and do something better. Okay, and that's the reason why I love my mentors, Mr. De Los Reyes, Mr. Quisha, Tony Aquino, the Zobel brothers. I'm still very close to all of them right now. But my journey, my successes, has always been blessed with the fact that I stepped on the shoulders of giants. I did not create everything that I have right now. I practically took it from other people and just, somehow work my way up with what they have given me. And that's the reason why somehow we're trying to give back and, contribute to people like you. And I hope you take that on to the next level and become what we call the stewards. The stewards that will carry the ball towards the future. So let me share my education. Sorry medyo natatawa ako dahil ang aga pa pala nitong ginawa kong slide. Inumpisahan ko pa sa elementary at high school days ko. So there's a reason for that though. I studied in Lourdes School, Quezon City. That's the school in Retiro, La Loma. I have to make a certain point kasi a lot of people see me today, they think, wow, Ateneo yan or Lasalista yan eh. Or di ba, I mean, people know naman, I went to college in UP, but then people would always expect me because of the way I speak, because of my command of the language, they think, okay, na talagang social ang pamilya ko, and no. And that's the reason why I wanted to start here, because much like many of you, I struggled. Retiro yung eskwelahan ko eh. Medyo iba yung kalidad ng mga taong taga dyan. Well, they're very smart. They're very pragmatic. I will have to say that about Lourdesians. There are big guys, Eric Cruz of Deutsche Bank, or NING, big, alumni as well. No? But, you see, we were in La Loma, we were in Retiro. Ang negosyo ng parents ko are jeepney. So, I'm usually with jeepney drivers. And you can never hear me speak English when I was a lot younger without maybe getting into those grammatical errors, right? But all I need to tell you is this, that I've worked on that as well. That wasn't there when I was a lot younger. I had to work on that proficiency. I have to work on that skill, which tells you if you're investing in yourself, if you're investing in your profession, you will have to do something about, improving yourself in many facets of the work. College ko, syempre yan, UP na, medyo, quite a stroke of a blessing that I got into the School of Business in UP, and I got a scholarship after that in AIM. This happened when I was already working. I already had a stint in Film Life. I took up competitive exams. I got a scholarship to AIM. So I stopped working for about 2 years and graduated and got my MBA school. Now, so quite a range, right? Kasi alam nyo naman sa atin, pag sinabing MBA ka, dapat you have to tread what we call a corporate career. Kasi sayang yung karera mo, sayang yung education mo. Diba? Parang there was this notion na pag may masteral degree ka, may doctorate ka, dapat hindi ka financial advisor. Yung financial advisor para sa ibang tao, which is actually wrong. I mean, again, from the simple side to the more complicated one, I put on that same spectrum, that same stretch. But all I can tell you is this. It still requires a lot of effort to make sure that all of the things you learn are applicable. Okay? So, Randall mentioned the way I moved. So from Film Life to my own agency work, putting up Ramper Financials, that's 27 years ago. Okay? 28 years this year. Okay? So, but in 1993, I resigned from being an executive of the company to become a financial advisor. Okay, so I have that kind of pride to say, alam nyo, hindi ako naging financial advisor because I can't do anything else or I'm not good at anything else. That's not true. In fact, I was good at what I was doing. I was like, I think I can say this with a matter of pride. I got promoted 3 times in 4 years. Not kidding you, 3 times in 4 years. So, stellar career, shooting star. All of a sudden, to the shock of many, I resigned to be an agent. And why? Many reasons. But number one reason, and I won't be a hypocrite about it, is money. It's being material. Why? Because pag swelduhan ka talagang wala eh. May limit talaga eh. So, I know I'm doing very well. I know I've been promoted. But still, I don't get enough. And again, my Chinese friends tell me, Rex, you're doing so well, but you're so engrossed with your title. You're so engrossed with, with the respect and adulation that name gives you. But if you're going to be looking at our calling card, minsan sa mga inuman nangyari to eh. If you look at our calling card, nothing fancy. We don't even have a title, but we own our businesses. That struck me. They don't have a title, but they own their businesses. I was a vice president. I became the global top producer for AIG globally from Film Life as the head of the group marketing division. I was sent to Seoul, Korea for the 1988 Olympics kasi number 1 ako globally. Can you imagine that? Tapos pagbalik ko, nagpainom ako, giinuman kami ng mga kaibigan ko, and then all of a sudden they said, Rex, galing sana, no? Sayang. Pero, gaano kalaking production ang ginawa mo to be number 1 globally? So I shared them the number. And because I'm an employee of the company, walang commission. And then one guy told me, Rex, anong pinagmamalaki mo? Dinala ka sa South Korea, nasama mo ang parents mo, galing. I'm proud of you. Pero yung natipid ng kumpanyang komisyon, kung ahente ka, kahit 10 beses ka nag-Korea, pwede. So, again, another big signal. So many signals. Alam nyo, unlike many of you siguro, naimbita lang kayo sa industriyang ito, okay na kagad kayo eh. Sa akin hindi, ang tigas ng ulo ko talagang until I realized one day, I really had to take the plunge. But then again, after I took the plunge, they got me back to head Film Asset Management. But I guess there was a difference. I told the company I won't be joining unless they allow me to continue selling. And that's the reason why, that was a big deal because in this industry, if you're an executive, you're not allowed to sell and become an agent. I was for the longest time. You know why? Because I wouldn't have gone back if I'm not given the option. Because I'm already doing well. I'm a 4-time MDRT. But Mr. Quisha said, you're going to be the best person to run PAMI. But I'll not do that if Ramper will cease to exist. I won't do that if I won't be a financial advisor. And he said, okay. So ako po, for the longest time, an executive with a license to kill. I was still an agent. In fact, I still became MDRT as an executive for Film Life. Okay? But obviously, all of those have to be disclosed. I mean, all the permissions have been, given out from New York. So, very important sa akin, lalong-lalo na sa mga nandito na part-time. No? Let me just tell all of you. For those of you who are part-time, some of you are at times, in a quandary. Am I doing the right thing? Am I shortchanging a company? Always remember this. There are only two things that you require. There are only two things that are very important as you have something that's part-time and you're delivering the goods for a certain company that you work for. Number one is disclosure. If you don't have to hide anything, that is good. You can do what you want because you have declared it. And I'll tell you, don't be scared about it. The real bosses are going to be very supportive. They're going to be they're going to be pushing you for your for as long as it's not in conflict with what the company is doing. 'Di ba? Importante 'yun, dinisclose mo. Pag pinayagan ka naman, di wala kang problema. The second is this, and it's the most important thing. It's performance. It's performance. Randall knows how I did for Film Asset Management. When I moved to Film Asset Management in 1996, ang binigay ni Mr. Quisha sa akin, 200 plus million in assets under management, a company with 10 million capitalization. So 10 million capitalization, 200 million in a fund. Okay? So yun ang seed capital ko. Okay? By the time I moved to Film Life in 2004, so I left PAMI to be managed by some other CEO, that was a span of 8 years. Okay? Yung 10 million na capital ko, I was already earning 180 million a year. 180 million a year, yung 10 million na capital. Imagine that, 180 million profit for 10 million capital. Yung 200 million na assets under management, in 1996, by 2004, was 22.5 billion. 22.5 billion. So, since I performed, meron bang magtatanong kung nagbebenta ako on the side? Meron ba nagtatanong kung may problema ako? But I'll tell you this. Ito nakakatuwa dun sa aking career na nag-combine ng executive at saka agency work. There was not one complaint from any agent about a conflict of interest. Di ba? Parang importante yun eh. Kasi presidente ka ng PAMI, what if bentahan mo ng insurance yung mga kliyente ng PAMI? I don't need that. I have my own prospects. I have my own business base. I work on it. In fact, I help agents sell insurance to their PAMI clients. And that's the reason why I've been endeared to many agency leaders. So when I became the president of PAMI, maayos kami. They're very supportive of me. When I became the president of PhilAm, they're still very, very supportive of me. Kasi wala akong kinaaway. So if you're going to be looking at this, including my stint with Ayala Land, I had a very, very good corporate career. Great relationships, awesome results. We achieved many, many milestones. Great relationships and connections. And there's respect, admiration, and pride all across the place. So what's the problem with that? But you see, I thought after I leave PhilAm, I'm going to be missing my stage. Because I like my stage to do this advocacy. I thought, if I'm not gonna be CEO, sayang yung stage ko na yun, sayang yung capability. You know what? I had that blessing. When I left the corporate world and I just became a consultant, I ventured into concentrating my life on the advocacy, on Rampver, and helping out other people within the industry. So nagbago pa yung buhay ko kasi dati, ang stage ko PhilAm. Obviously, when I was in PhilAm, I cannot speak in Sun Life. I cannot speak in Pru. I cannot speak in Insular. I cannot speak in Manulife. Right? Today, because I'm Rampver Financials, many of you would have heard me speak because I'm doing service to the entire industry. And on top of that, still a part of Ayala Land, Globe, the Truly Rich Club, and certain banks. So my corporate involvements continued. I mean, it's not gonna stop. But you see, Rampver became, at the start, a practice for my business, financial advisory. But it actually has evolved to a holding company. So as Randall mentioned, because of the capital that I built through my financial advisory business, I got the money to fuel other businesses. So what you see here, Ramper Financials, Soldibo Funds, Mango, I partly own some of that, Sing Life, Mobile Group, certain other businesses, including a barbershop. Nakakatawa po, no? May barbershop ako kasi kanya-kanyang mga frustrations lang sa buhay yan, di ba? So I probably vented my frustration kasi wala akong buhok, nagtayo ako ng barbershop with certain partners. Kidding aside, all of these businesses serve and give value to many people. So, all I'm telling you is this. You are at the first steps of creating this entire empire for yourself. I am so sure you guys are probably going to be doing better than us, Randall and I. Bakit? Tinuro na ni Randall sa inyo lahat ng alam niya. Tinuro ko na rin sa inyo. Like, I'm also going to tell you about my mistakes. So, if I tell you about my mistakes, you're supposed to be able to go on top of those mistakes and do better. I guess that's the most important thing here. And that's the reason why I'm sharing this with you. And my investment portfolio even keeps on growing. I mean, on top of those businesses, I think many of you know, and then Marvin and I, trade together. We exchange notes as to the way we read our markets. Randall knows we sit on certain boards of funds. We manage things very, very actively. So, ang point ko lang, nakakatuwa when people say they're too busy. Nakakatuwa when people say and come up with excuses like, I want a balanced life. Why? You think my family doesn't love me? You think my kids don't like me? I mean, all of them are still here. In fact, ang worry ko nga, parang ayaw mag-asawa ng mga to. Lahat nandito na di ba? Going beyond the age, I myself parted with my parents to have my own house. But, they love it here. And I can't blame them with what my wife and what, Anna and I have provided them. Right? So, ganun walang excuse to, no? And that's why that's why I shared what I shared. And then I move on to a template. I move on to what needs to be done. And I hope you get to appreciate that. Okay? So, what needs to be done? Again, to start off, you don't want to have a comfort zone. There is no growth in the comfort zone and there is no comfort in the growth zone. You will have to go through the hard work. You will have to go through the labor. The people who do well without putting effort in this business will not do that for long, will not succeed for long. I always tell my people this. In the counter where you get success, there is no such thing as a discount. You will have to pay full price and you will have to pay in advance. Most of the things I'm gonna share with you, I cannot pull your leg. Kasi baka isipin nyo, si Boss Rex medyo nakakapambola kasi, just to give you an idea, 2 of your classmates here are colleagues of mine. They're part of the Rampver family. I'll never call them my employees. I'll never call them my people. I mean, they are colleagues. That's how we deal with Rampver Financials. Kahit ganito kung katanda at ganyan silang kabata, we are family. We're barkada. Ganun yan, no? And as I share this with you, di ko pwedeng bulahin kayo sa nangyayari sa Rampver dahil nandyan sila. Kukontrahin nila siguro kung hindi totoo yung sasabihin ko. It's an open thing in Rampver. And the way I've dealt with Rampver, I've shared with a lot of people because I want you guys to build your own businesses, to build your own endeavors. And whether you make it a rapper or make it a personal endeavor, doesn't matter for as long as you achieve your potential. Let me repeat that. I don't care if you're going to make it such a big thing like this or something that you're going to manage and enjoy doing. It's up to you. The important thing is you achieve your potential. Okay? So let me tell you my motivations to make a change. Why? From being an employee, I took the plunge. And I can tell you, many of you would probably be part-time. If you're going to be doing this job really well, your part-time will earn more than your full-time. And there will come a time when you probably just get to decide you're going to switch them. Your part-time will become your full-time and your full-time can become your part-time. Unfortunately, I did not have that luxury. Why? Because I was working for an insurance company. And when I decide to make a change, obviously I will have to really, take a jump over the fence. Because they haven't seen performance. Siyempre, nung okay na yung performance ko, they invited me back and I can do both. But you see, they're not gonna bet on me until they saw the performance. So my motivation, and I guess many of you shouldn't let this go. Many of us sometimes start this because of material objectives, financial objectives. I don't want you to miss that. I don't want you to lose that. There's a lot of people sometimes get into the real, benefits of the industry, making a difference in people's lives, having an impact on the financial well-being of people. I agree with that. But you cannot do that well if you don't make money yourself. The people who do that well are people who make a lot of money. Okay? So I will always hold that as one of my prime and biggest objectives. Okay? My colleagues here, as I've said, will tell you, there are times in our company when I make challenges, like certain units against my production. I-add nyo yung production ng buong department nyo against me. May ganon. Di ba? Kasi gusto ko pa rin mag-compete. Gusto ko pa rin mag-compete. Di ba? So, I'd want people to get that. However, on top of the material ends, there has to be a purpose. And I'll let you know that purpose is the advocacy on financial literacy. Okay? Randall would probably be doing certain things like this even without pay because he's committed to the advocacy. He's committed to making a change in people's lives. So that is still a part of the motivation to make a change. I also didn't like a bit of the corporate life, the politics behind it. Iba yung buhay. So I wanted to leave that. I wanted to have my own game. And lastly, build a legacy. Let me tell you, for most part, there is such joy in my heart because this pandemic opened up a lot of opportunities. Just recently, I'm really so happy that my children are becoming more and more active in the business, and that's a blessing. Kasi 'di ba, tingnan nyo, ang mga pinaka-successful na pamilya in this industry. Somehow, their husband and wife and their children get to join them. It's almost like the medical profession. Di ba kaya gusto ng doktor yung anak niya, doktor din? Kasi ipapasa niya yung mga pasyente niya. Ipapasa niya yung mga pasyente niya at hopefully yung anak ng pasyente niya maging pasyente din ng anak niya. It is a profession where your children can inherit what you've worked for. And there's something there that will get lost if you don't have anyone to pass it on. But I know that there is a legacy behind it. And since my children are the best legacies, they're the ones that should be there all together. Okay? So, yan ang motivation natin. Now, what was my business idea then? There's a need for financial advice. We live in a country where people are more spenders than savers and investors. So alam na alam ko there will always be a market for what I want to do. Second, I'd want to go for variable compensation. I'm not so much a fan of fixed compensation because it can go either way. You're a big producer, but you're not going to be paid well. On the other hand, the other extreme is that someone can be a poor worker, bad habits, loose business ethics. Even the work ethic is questionable, but he still gets paid his salary. So unfair, di ba? So I really like variable compensation. Maybe I can give you something to tide you by, but I can always get something on top of it because something has to be directly connected to performance. That's what I don't like about the corporate world, and that's the reason why in Ramper I changed that. My colleagues in Ramper will tell you, number one, they have a salary, but they have variable income for their production. On top of that, they're also owners of the company. I've given them shares for those who perform and those who set and establish a certain, what do you call this? Tenure within the firm. Gets to become part owner. So you get the ownership, you get the variable compensation per performance, and you get a fixed income to tide you by. All of that is given to each and every individual in my company. So there's a change. Yung hindi ko magawa dahil hindi naman ako may-ari ng kumpanya dati, di ba? Gusto ko sanang gawin. In fact, there were times, and I guess you all know, you can go back to Film Life, and that's the reason why up till today, they will always tell you how beloved I was as a CEO because I made it a point to share the fruits of the company, the results of the company with people. Up till today, they will always remember what I've done, and many of those hindi na naulit at hindi na natuloy. But however, I will always say, that's the way to lead a team. That's the way to lead a team. And that's a way to share so that people will always become a part of your mission. Okay? So, multi-product, open architecture platform. Now, for many of us, that's okay if you don't have open architecture, but it has to be multiple products. Diba? You have to be able to offer healthcare, you have to be able to offer life, you have to be able to offer accident. See, hopefully, they get a lot of their needs from you. And, you can expand that product arsenal. That's okay. Okay? Kasi ang sinasabi ng marami pag minsan may upik tayo eh. Kasi some financial advisors will say this, di ba? Kunyari, taga Sun Life ako eh. Or taga Pro Life ako eh. So I will only sell my products. Okay? I will only sell my products. Okay. What if the client wants a mutual fund? And when the client wants a mutual fund, you have to offer SLAMC, right? What if ayaw niya ng SLAMC? Or, what if puno na siya sa SLAMC? Parang sinasabi niya, my portfolio is too skewed towards SLAMC already. I need to diversify and get other fund managers. I don't want you to sell him other products. That's wrong. Because you're a licensed Sun Life advisor. But that doesn't stop you from having friends and a network in the industry where you can pass on that kind of interest. And ang importante, you control the relationship. Right? Let's just say this happens. Meron kang kakonect, kunyari in a company like Ramper, who can sell any mutual fund in the industry. Okay? So sasabihin mo, Kim, Mark, total classmate tayo sa masterclass ni Randall eh. Pag talagang ayaw na ng SLAMC, sa inyo ko ibibigay. Okay? But, ako nagpasa sa iyo huwag mo yung bebentahan ng iba without my knowledge. See, I can control the relationship kasi ako nagpasa sa iyo eh. Pero pag mayupik ang financial advisor, hindi, dapat lahat Sun Life lang. Dapat lahat ganito lang. You see what's gonna happen? Yung kliyente naman na maghahanap ng iba, di ba? And because the client looked for other relationships, may mistress ka na ngayon. Yung kliyente mo nagkaroon ng mistress. Paano kung mas happy siya sa mistress? Liliit ang relationship with you. Whereas, kontroladong-kontrolado mo, I'm not going to advise this in real marriages, ha? I'm not gonna advise this in real marriages. Pero dito lang sa analogy ko, di ba? Call it an open marriage. You're still married with me. I refer you to that other mistress, but I control it. I know how much money you gave her. I know how much money you gave him. And I still control it. So, I carry the ball as far as the relationship is concerned. I'm not going to be myopic about this. See, how many times did I refer a client to a lawyer? How many times did I refer a client to an accountant? And you're going to be surprised about this. How many times did I refer a client to a bank? Diba? Kailangan ng ganitong klaseng service, kailangan ng ganitong klaseng bill of lading, kailangan ganitong klaseng credit, all of that. I'm the one who introduces them. Kaya sa akin, gusto ko sa akin dumaan eh. Kasi pag yan dumaan sa ibang paraan, not through me, I'm not controlling the relationship. Right? I'm not controlling the relationship. If I don't control the relationship, then what happens? Diba? Hindi sa akin dumaan. Kumuha ng loan through another relationship. Guess what happens? May BSE doon. Bank assurance. Bebentahan na yun. Wala na ako. Di ba? Kalabang ko na siya. What if ako magre-refer sa'yo? Sasabihan ko yung branch manager, pare ako nagdala sa'yo nitong kliyente to. Never ever sell him anything without my knowledge. I carry the relationship. You think a BSE will all of a sudden talk to my client? That bank will lose the business. That bank will lose the business. I carry the relationship. I have control. That's the reason why sometimes many financial advisors become so myopic in their relationships. No, I have an extended network. And for me, the real wealth base would not be the sale, will not be the commission, will not be the product. The real wealth base is the relationship. I make that sticky. And the stickier the relationship is, long-term value of the business per relationship is higher. Let me repeat that. Long-term value of the business relationship is higher. Kasi I don't value a sale based on the commission I get now. I always think about how much this relationship will give me over the years. Dito nagkakatalo yung entrepreneur at yung ahente lang eh. Yung ahente nakatingin lang dun sa commission eh. Pag nakita ko yung kliyente, alam ko na what this relationship can give me over the future. And that's a sustainable relationship that extends beyond simply insurance at times. There are times I don't need to earn. When I refer it to a lawyer, kikita ba ako doon? Minsan mariregaluhan ako ng kick, minsan wala. But I am controlling the relationship. Kasi alam nyo, pag ako nag-recommend ng lawyer, tapos binibentahan ko ng insurance, kinonsulta yung lawyer, ano sasabihin ng lawyer kung kaibigan ko siya? Okay yan, di ba? Si Rex yan eh. Okay yan. Ngayon, if you're not the one who referred the lawyer, and he got the lawyer from somewhere else, binibentahan mo na ngayon ng insurance, it's a buyback agreement for his company. Obviously, he's gonna go to a lawyer and see how it gets spanned out, how it gets executed. Lawyer says, pangit yan. Huwag yan, gastos yan. Oh, wala ka na. Di ba? So make sure even the relationships are there. Okay? Comprehensive financial services is very important. You want the business, has to be comprehensive. I don't care if you're like, for example, you're with Pro ka lang. Okay lang yan. But control your relationships, control the way they extend to other products. There is no point in just specializing in something without making sure that your clients still can get other products and services through you while you're specialized in something. Mahirap yung full ano ka lang na may blinders ka, ito ka lang. Hindi, dapat walang blinders. Ito ka lang, pero yung openness ng mata mo, ikaw pa rin ang nag-aakay. Very important yan. Very important you want to grow. Challenges we need to overcome. We have a very undisciplined culture. I'm not just talking about ourselves, the industry. I'm talking about the market, the people who will be your customers and clients, and the employees that you will have in your business. They're all undisciplined. They're not financially attuned, and you will have to put all of them on the right path. Very unfortunate in this country, system of incentives and disincentives. Very questionable system of incentives and disincentives. I have time and again represented the industry in many laws, bills, debates about what needs to be passed and all that. Little by little, we get to have our wins, but too far apart. Okay? Isipin nyo, yung pera. 1990s pa yan. I'm on the first committee, Personal Equity Retirement Account. Kailan lang yan napasa? Few years ago. Kailan lang lumabas yung IRR? How many people have pera today? Less than 5,000 people in the Philippines. And why? Because they still don't understand it. Can you imagine? If you contribute, buy an insurance policy, pay 100,000 pesos in premium, pwede mong i-deduct sa taxable income mo. That is pera for you. But people don't know what to do. If you have a pera account, buy insurance, yung premium, tax deductible. How many people know it? Very little. In terms of disincentives, ang dami. I mean, we're the only country in this side of the region that requires a very heavy, we're the highest in terms of premium tax. Premium tax. So yung tao nag-i-invest for the long term, itatax mo. Sa ibang bansa, whenever they invest long term, they get incentives. People get incentives for not spending money today. Anything they invest, they get tax breaks, they get pluses. Dito hindi. Matatax ka pag nagsisave ka. Look at your deposits in the bank, 20% withholding, right? Ngayon lang nauso yung in 5 years or more, wala nang withholding. But you have to have a qualified instrument for that pa. And since many Filipinos don't do 5 years or more, they still don't get that tax break. So, may problema yung system of incentives and disincentives. In the more sophisticated markets like Singapore, the United States, the UK, people are going to be more attuned to investing, saving, and buying insurance because they are incentivized to do so. If they don't do so, may mawawala. Dito hindi. Pag papunta ka doon, lalong may mawawala dahil you're gonna be hit in many places. Okay, so again, that's a problem for us. Underdeveloped Philippine capital market. I mean, we don't have enough in terms of choices. We don't have enough in terms of qualified plans for people. Di ba? Parang sayang eh. Because if we have a really developed Philippine capital market, can you imagine if you can sell a VUL with an underlying instrument that can be a technology fund, that can be a global fund? Some companies are starting that now with the feeder funds, but not all companies have it. And why a feeder fund? Fees on fees pa yun eh. Why can't we start a fund from here? Because the registration process is damn too long. That's the reason why. That's the reason why. Mag-apply kayo ng produkto sa INSCOM, mag-apply kayo ng produkto sa SEC, it will take you ages. Lalo na ngayon because there's COVID. So matagal. And that's the reason why our industry doesn't progress as well as other markets. So we have to deal with that. That's a given. Lack of financial education. I mean, how many schools actually teach personal finance? Minsan nga binibiro ko ang marami. Have you ever realized that? Even for some of you who had finance classes, some of you who had accounting classes when they were in college, Di ba? Tanong ko sa inyo, tinuruan ba nila kayo how to handle your own money? Or tinuluan nila kayo how to handle other people's money? Quite a surprise, di ba? Kasi ang tinuturo sa'yo, paano ka maghawak ng pera ng iba eh. And that's the reason why the CFOs, they're very good. But the CFOs cannot even manage their own money. Kasi if you're managing the money of a company, you're very objective. Your parameters are objective. But if you're managing your own money, emotions come in. Greed, fear. Kaya yung CFO, ang galing pagdating sa pera ng kumpanya. Pagdating sa sarili niyang pera, hindi siya magaling. Dahil walang nagturo ng personal finance. Ang tinuro yung corporate finance. So, again, it's incumbent upon us, financial advisors, to teach other people. Trabaho natin ngayon yan kasi hindi naman niya nakuha sa college. Hindi niya nakuha sa college yan. So, again, taking the plunge and growing the business, what happened? In 1993, I started with life and non-life insurance. It's just me, a secretary, and a messenger. Me, a secretary, and a messenger. Magugulat kayo, ha? I said, when I started, I had a secretary and a messenger. Why did I do that? For many financial advisors, they're dependent on the support system forged or provided for by their agency. I don't mind that at first, if you're still testing the waters. But when you begin to earn money, when you begin to be good at it, and if you really think business, you have to invest. You have to invest. Alam niyo, yun ang problema natin. Ang industriya natin, hindi talaga entrepreneur, yung mga financial advisor eh. Kasi karamihan sideline eh. Kumikita lang sila ng extra. In a real business, you have to invest. And as I've said, I invested. Do you know that I can say this with a lot of pride? When I became an agent, I did not hold office in the agency office provided by the company. I did not. Unang-una, ang lagi kong sinasabi, mahahawa ako sa bad habits dyan. Yung mga bad habits dyan, I'd rather manage myself. I don't want to manage the problems of other people. So I'd rather be alone. I had a condo unit where I had a secretary and a messenger, and that's my private practice. Okay? Nag-invest ako. Ang lagi ko pinagmamalaki, una pa ako nagka-LCD projector sa Film Life. I bought my own LCD projector at the time when they're more expensive than a car. Okay? They were more expensive than a car. $9,110 in 1993 is more expensive than a Civic at that time. I bought that because I specialized in group insurance. Pag nagse-seminar ako sa empleyado, the company paid for their premiums. They haven't taken money out of their pocket yet. They're getting free coverage. But I'm telling the company, I will have a seminar on the benefits of your group account to make people realize that you're taking care of them, to make your premium expense worth it. I want them to tell them how the company is responsible for them. Galing, di ba? So the company loved me for that. However, that is a great opportunity to sell individual policies. Wala ka pang nilalabas na pera eh. The insurance company is actually being paid by your employer. So it's a good time to also sell individual policies. And when I'm doing that, I'm making a presentation. At that time, Film Life was using overhead projectors. Yung may acetate pa na binubura mo ng acetone para mag-project. I had my LCD projector. And because I'm impressive, I can make better sales. Pero alam niyo, ito yung pinaka-importante sa lahat, ladies and gentlemen, in the aspect of entrepreneurship. Why did I get the equipment, my own computers, my own secretary, also with a computer, and a messenger? Why? Because with expenses, I am forced to make sales. Because I have overhead, I have to earn revenues. Alam niyo, ang problema, pag part-time ka, wala ka nilalabas na pera. Ano mangyayari? Pag wala kang benta, wala kang lugi, di ba? There is no fire on your seat. Because you're not spending for anything. Wala naman lugi. Ano, di ba sabi nila, puhunan mo laway, lunukin mo lang yan, kumita ka na. Di ba? Which is wrong. You have to have capital. You have to have overhead. And because I had overhead, I had to earn. I have to get revenues. Kasi if I don't get revenues, I will be losing money. I will be losing money. May kapital ako eh. So kailangan makabenta ako. Mas puwersado ako magbenta. Yung part-time na walang expense, akala nyo nakakatipid kayo? Naniniwala kayo, wow, business without capital. That's baloney. When you have business without capital, you don't lose anything, you won't sell anything either. You won't have that kind of, and that's why kahit sabihin kong, okay, wag kayong mag-opisina, wag kayong mag-sekretarya, wag kayong mag-messenger, pero teka lang, gastusan niya pa rin yung practice nyo. Gastusan nyo pa rin yung practice nyo. Get yourself the right machines, get yourself the right, dito pa lang eh, kitang-kita nyo, it's a pandemic, right? How do you get to present to your clients today? Through Zoom, through technology, right? How many of you have invested in a setup at home? Or how many of you are just using iPhones and iPads to do this? Doon mo makikita yung entrepreneur at hindi. Yung entrepreneur gagastos. Hindi ba? Gagastos yung entrepreneur. And that's the reason why you see my camera that's like this. For those of you who know me, hindi ako ganitong kakinis sa personal. Pero dito, makinis ako dahil ang ganda ng camera ko eh. Di ba? I have a nice voice here. Why? I have a modulated condenser mic. I'm always at the right frame whenever I speak. Why? Because I have a table that goes up and down whenever I want to. Even if I want to go into a meeting na nakatayo ako, pwede. I invest in my business. That's the reason why I did that in 1993. I still do it today. In 2008, I say this because it's very, very relevant. The anniversary of a division called Ramper Strategic Advisors, of which Mark is a part of. Mark is part of this class. Mark is a pioneer. In 2008, he joined us. Okay? Doon kami nag-umpisa ng mutual funds. So today is the 13th anniversary of that, when we did mutual funds, consulting, training, and advisory services. Okay? So 13 years na yan. Today, we have comprehensive financial services, real estate, retail, events, and technology. We have a holding company of 30 direct employees and a 20+% stake in many companies in diverse industries. Nandun na ngayon. If you think Ramper Financials today, the assets under management would be over 10 billion pesos. Over 10 billion pesos now, and as I've said, an expansive geographic reach that's now all across. We're also in the Visayas and we're also in Mindanao. When you want to take your game up to a level of entrepreneurship, you have to do this. You have to know your big why. Take to know your big why. Do some introspective exercise and get down to your vision, mission, and values. Again, with us, we know that by heart. We help people fulfill financial dreams. We help people fulfill financial dreams. That's what we do. That's our mission. Each and every Ramper colleague will have to do that. What's your big why? Have you ever sat down to know, put down on paper, your vision, mission, and value statement? I'm sure you went to understanding your personal brand. I know that that's a discussion that Randall does. But in the discussion of a personal brand, there has to be an anchor for that. And the anchor for that should be your vision, mission, and value statements. Okay? Now, I think I alluded to many of this, but let me go through certain points. Let me go through very, very important points. Number one, the myths, okay? The myth that we have to contend with. Kasi alam nyo, many of us got into this industry getting invited, being promised certain things, being sold certain things. But since you're already part of the industry, I'd want to be able to tell you the truth so that you can now decide for yourself how successful you want to be. Okay? Myth number one. Myth number one. If you're a financial advisor, you won't be 8 to 5. You won't need to work 8 to 5. You can own your time. Yan. Yan ang naririnig natin, di ba? You own your time and you don't have to work 8 to 5. You can be a better mother. You can be a better father. You can have more time for your family. Okay? That is a myth. It can actually be true for people who probably would have accepted a certain level of success in their profession. Okay lang yun. Certain success. But the real high flyers will not be limited by that. The real high flyers would admit to themselves, and I think some of you will say this, diba? You will not own your time. Your client and customers will own your time. Isn't that true? Sa umpisa, kala mo yung oras sa iyo eh. Pag marami ka ng kliyente, sila na may-ari ng oras mo. And you might have to work on Sundays. People text you on Saturdays. Habang nagpapahinga ka, may tanong, ano yan, iintayin mo ng Lunes? You know, when you're an employee, you can do that. Eh. You can do that. But when a client is dependent on you, you think you can do that? No. You will have to answer and provide service when it's necessary. So you don't own your own time. Clients will actually own your time. Does that mean you'll have a bad family life? No. You will now have to organize your own time. You now have to compartmentalize. And that's the reason why many of you know, as I've shared, like even in my book, you know, I have a date night with my wife. We have family days on Sundays. And I have, you know, one-on-ones with my children. I don't have a lot of time, but I give my loved ones quality time. I don't have so much time, but when I have time for my children and when I have time for my significant other, I have quality time. Yung iba sa atin, puro may oras, hindi ba? Tapos nandun kayo sa dining table, lahat kayo naka-cellphone, lahat kayo nagte-text. Is that quality time? Maybe you have to resort to what we need to do at times. We call it a tech ban. Tech ban. Nobody brings a cell phone to the dining table. That's a tech ban. We have to talk to people who are in front of us, not to people who are not there. You'll have time for that later. Right? So, you don't own your own time. Clients can own your time. Second, sabi nila you won't have a boss. It's almost like that same thing, right? You won't have a boss. So akala mo wala ka ng boss. O lahat ng kliyente mo, boss pala. That's the other thing. Most of your big clients, the demanding clients that you're going to have, they're going to be your bosses. Okay? And they're going to be asking a lot of things from you. They can be very, very demanding. But what if I tell you, like, I have a few clients who probably give me a revenue of about $1 million a year. $1 million a year. When that happens, sa tingin mo, hindi mo siya boss. Boss mo siya, di ba? So, when he asks you to call back, when he asks you to do certain things, you will. And I'm saying this, I'm already the president of my company. I'm already the president. But I still do things for my customers. I still drop certain things and do things for my customers whenever necessary because I do get the revenue from them. Importante yun. So kailangan isipin natin, okay? Now, ito yung isa sinabi ko kanina. Sabi nila, if you're in this profession, you don't need capital. This is the business where you don't need capital. Again, nothing is far from the truth. If you don't invest in yourself in this industry, you won't go far. I'm not even gonna tell you, have a separate office, have a messenger, have a secretary. No. Maybe we don't have to start that way, but some of you already have it. Some of you already have them. So fine, that's great work. You know, if you have overhead, you will sell more because you will have the motivation to sell more. But how about the others who are still on the way to get to that level? When you're just on the way to get to that level, iba yun. Ang mangyayari dito, ganito. Uunahin natin, ano muna yung investment mo sa sarili mo? The way you're dressed, your equipment, your computer, your ballpen. Alam nyo ha? Isa yan sa mga pet peeve ko eh. Di ba? A lot of financial advisors actually have the worst pens. Tapos nagre-reklamo ka pa, hindi ka makabenta ng malaking policy. E ano nangyayari pag nakabenta ka ng 50 million na policy, papipirmahin mo sa mga ballpen na ganito? Okay? Wala ka nung matitinong ballpen na talagang pangkontratang matindi para amazed yung kliyente mo? When I'm asking my client to sign huge contracts, I bring an Agatha Christie pen or an Imperial Dragon Mont Blanc pen. Eh yung mata pa lang nung pen na yun, diamonds eh. So it starts a conversation, right? I know the client signing a multi-million peso contract. I'm giving him a multi-million peso pen. So he feels the value. How have you invested in yourselves? If you consider this a profession and a business, you have to invest well. Okay? And lastly, and most importantly, dito sa mga myth na ito, okay, is this. Sabi nila, when you get to this industry and you do this business, you will be able to do what you love. Ah, di ba? You will be able to do what you love. Do what you love, and you will never have to work a day in your life. Okay? Again, for me, that's a big lie. That's a big lie. Eventually, you'll probably do what you love. But as you're struggling to get there, you will do everything that it takes. There is a difference. Doing what you love and doing what it takes. Because doing what it takes means that you're going to be doing things you don't like doing. Doing what it takes means you're going to be doing things you don't like doing. A client, napadalahan mo na ng requirements, nabigay mo na yung file, nabigay mo na yung password, all of a sudden asks you, Rex, nasa na yung file? Di mo pa pinapadala. Twice mo nang napadala. Okay? Yung password, hindi mo napadala. Twice mo na rin napadala. Kukontrahin mo ba siya? O papadalahan mo na lang uli? Do you think you love doing that? You won't love doing that. But you have to do it. You have to do what it takes. Even on a rest period, where you're watching Netflix, all of a sudden, right? Somebody prompts you that he needs help in this area, and that person contributes what? 40, 50 million to your revenues? What will you do? Obviously, your answer is going to be good as mine, right? You cannot simply shut things down and say, I will only do what I like doing. An entrepreneur will do whatever it takes. Kaya nga entrepreneur eh. Di ba? So all of these myths, we have to overcome because we got into this business being sold the idea that it's going to be like this. But if you want to be really, really successful, it has to be something else. We have to have our eyes on the business. Okay? Now, this is a very important discussion here because I'd like you in the scheme of things to simplify. Tatlong bagay lang ang part ng negosyong tong gusto kong maging emphasis. 3 Bs. I always resort to defining them as the 3 Bs. And I got this from a very good friend, Bobby D. of Ayala Land. In fact, in Ayala Land's KRAs, in Ayala Land's plans for the future, you will always see everything boiling down to 3 Bs. The brand, the business model, and the bench. The brand is your brand. What do you do? What do you offer? The business model is how everything works. How you get to your bottom line. How you get it to a more sustainable track for your future. And last is your bench. How would you develop talent? Where are you going to draw expertise from? You know, all of these things, kailangan alam mo kung gusto mong gawing negosyo to, kailangan you will have to set forth and challenge yourself to, yan, kita nyo, may sound effect pa siya. Okay? What are you gonna be known for in your brand? And I guess, yun nga, sinabi ko, di ba? Sabi ni Randall, kailangan may personal brand ka. But on top of just knowing your personal brand and what you stand for, what's your value proposition? How are you going to be different than others? You are a financial advisor for PruLife. But there are 30,000 of you. Why will I get this from you? Or why will I even get it from Pru? Why won't I get it from someone else? Kita niyo yun? Parang look at that kind of funnel in the mindset of a customer. First of all, why will I buy this product in the first place? Why do I need it? Second, if I do need it, why will I have to buy it from this company? And if I say I'm buying it from this company, why will I have to buy it from you? What is your value? How do you differentiate yourselves from others? That is key. You have to know that. Ano yung pluses mo? And I guess that's where people get lost at times. Rex, it's just the same, right? What I offer somebody can be the same thing that other people offer. When you have that kind of a proposition, you will be losing a lot of business. You will be losing a lot of people because you have to give people the reason why, reason to believe. And that has to be that value proposition there. Okay? Business model. What are your revenues and expenses? Are you even tallying how much you spend for your business? Or you're just selling and earning commissions? We have to have a book of accounts. Anything that we spend on this business has to be recorded. Anything that is earned from the business has to be recorded para alam mo how much this business is giving you. You have to know how you're earning and how you're spending. What are going to be your critical or crucial areas? What are your key result areas? How do you really say you're doing well? Okay? Now, people will be coming up with this kind of measures. Premiums generated or revenues if you're in a bank. Premiums generated or revenues. Number 2, commissions. Or if you're in a certain company, salary and bonuses. Right? Are those the only metrics? If you're looking at this as a business, you will have to make sure that you also count the number of accounts you generate. See, I've told people, this business is about a race to 300. What do I mean a race to 300? Kasi para sa akin, a financial advisor who has like about 50, 100 clients is still iffy in this business. You have 50 to 100 clients, you won't have it in a very sustainable level. But if you have 300 clients, you're there. You are there, and you have a long way to go. If you have 300 clients, every day you have someone to call. You have 300 clients, every day you have someone to refer you somebody else. If you have 300 clients, they'll have milestones in their lives that will probably pop you out because they need something new. Somebody got a new son, a new daughter, somebody bought a new house. All of these developments within 300 people will always mean business opportunities for us. So kailangan, binibilang mo rin ang number of accounts mo kasi mahirap yung titirahin mo lang yung targets mo in terms of revenue, in terms of income, only from a few people. That's not gonna be sustainable. That's not gonna be sustainable. And you're going to be trying so hard, selling a few people, you won't get endeared to them. That's very important also. Another key result area, very important in our industry, is persistency. What's your persistency rate? So, premiums, commissions, number of accounts, persistency. Are you even measuring yourself across those four? And very important, you also have to measure yourself in the way you spend on the business. So, you now have to know how to measure that performance. What performance metrics are there and how you get to measure yourself. Kasi pag negosyo, ganun eh. May dashboard. May dashboard. Hindi pwedeng you are, coming up with a business blind. No. The biggest corporations will always have a budget and they will always compare how they're doing to budget. Time and time again. Monthly, quarterly, annually. Minimum. For the companies who are in dire straits, like in this COVID pandemic, businesses are even monitored on a weekly basis because things can happen every week. If you're not monitoring this for your business, then you can call it a business. You're just having a sideline. You have to go back and measure how you're doing, where you need to calibrate and improve things as you move ahead. Very important. Financial value creation. Take note of the top line. How much you're earning in terms of commissions. First year. How about your margins? Paano mo alam ang margin mo if you haven't recorded how much you've spent? In fact, the key to this is to even have this on a per relationship basis, especially if you have big clients. Like, for example, in cases where we have clients that are one whole family, we record the expenses we have out of that family and we record whatever revenues we get out of that family. So we know our top line and our margins. We know how to allocate personnel, how to allocate support, because we know how much we're earning. Let me tell you this, at times, if you don't know what you're doing, if you're not recording any of this, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be spending more for people and businesses that are not even paying you back. This is sometimes funny, but it's true. You spend for people who are so demanding but are not even giving you enough revenue margins. And yung mga tahimik mong kliyente, you don't spend for them too much, but they're the ones contributing to your bottom line. Maybe they're the ones who you should be sending cakes, sending food this quarantine season. Because they're giving you much more in return. Now, the guys who are probably not giving you much, then syempre, tipirin mo na yung expenses mo sa kanila because in terms of time and trouble, you've already spent too much on them. But how would you know this if you don't have the record? You have to have the record. Now, I tell a lot of people, be mindful of the cash flow. Cash flows, for me, would be more important than profitability. Let me repeat that. Cash flows are more important than profitability. Cash flows will kill you. Businesses can survive with losses. 2 years, even 3 years of losses, as long as you have the right capital and you can turn it around later. But cash flows will be very difficult to manage. If you are on a negative cash flow for the longest time, that will kill your business. So make sure you get that positive cash flow working for you. Now this is crucial. This is crucial as a discussion. Okay? Understanding your business when it comes to your bench, to your talent. Okay? You are the lead advisor, you are the consultant. What do you put on the table? What's your expertise? I guess I salute all of you for being part of this masterclass. And I hope you join your companies and their training programs to get you certain certifications, CSOLs, even outside the company like the RFP, do that because you are the lead advisor. You are the lead consultant. Your asset base is also your knowledge and expertise. So make sure you put a lot of value into that. But on top of it, a support system. What's your support system on service? How do you get to deliver better services for your clients? Who supports you? The agency, the company, or can you support yourself? Can you set up a system by yourself? Now, this is what I'm talking about earlier. Support system as to expertise. How can you draw support from the expertise of others? Do you have a network that would have lawyers, accountants, banks, even private bankers? If you have a support system like that, then you can throw things around. And this is what I like about it. As I send business the way of my lawyer friends, I send business the way of my accountant friends. Guess what? When they have clients who need insurance, when they have clients who need financial advice, they refer me too. It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. So my expertise network goes beyond me and my company. But that becomes a referral network as well. Now, I also have to push this, the principal organization and brand. You are all part of your principal organizations. I mentioned some of their names. Some of you are from Sun Life, from Pru, some of you are from Manulife. I don't know if people are from Insular there. Your principal brand is also very important. This is something that I've realized so deeply in the recent times. Kasi ang hirap to become a good brand if the brand that you're carrying is weak. So make sure that you are a good brand and the brand on top of you, which is your halo brand, is also strong. Because your future is also hedged on that. And let me tell you that you have the responsibility of putting yourself in the right place. You don't exactly become part of that organization just like that. If you don't know its capabilities, if you don't know if it's going to fit you, then you're going to go into trouble later on. I want you to make sure that the company you're part of is the company you want to grow with, the company that you're going to stake your future profession/business with. Because if you're not going to be able to ascertain the longevity, the sustainability, and the future success of that principal company, you better move now. You better move now. Sasayangin mo eh. Kasi there would be times when you're going to be on your 5th year, your 6th year, and you're going to be doing so well, and then all of a sudden, your company goes poof. Your company just suddenly mismanages everything. And I'm saying this because I've seen it happen in this industry. And when it happens in this industry, where will that place you? You will be losing what you have worked for. So might as well choose a company that you know it's going to be strong, it's going to be well managed, right products, the right ethics, the right business models that you can grow with all through time. That's very, very important. Okay? Better talent always wins. Talent management is your job. You know, you have to over deliver on people's dreams. Your people, your team, you have to over deliver, because once you over deliver, guess what? They become volunteers. They're not gonna work just because they're paid. They're gonna work for you because they believe in what you do. They're gonna work for you because they know you will be making a difference. Okay? Pumping talent from all levels, from all conceivable sources. From all conceivable sources. At every level of your company, at every level of your business, you have talent that you can draw from. Whether full-time, part-time, or as I've said, network related, consulting related. You have to be able to do this. Okay? Our product is our service. The guarantee to that is ourselves. We are the guarantee of it. But, you know, before I proceed, I'd really like to come up with a bit of time here to get into some questions already, so that I can look back later on and continue my discussion. Can we do that, Randall? I'll stop sharing first, because I wouldn't really want to just get myself into a monologue without, you know, unang-una, gusto kong tanungin, Randall, hanggang anong oras ba tayo? Kasi alam mo ako, you know, I can get to 12 o'clock without being controlled.
Ideally 9, but we normally extend until mga 9:30 naman eh. So, and they don't mind the extended. So, at this point in time, in case you have any questions, no, is it okay, Boss Rex, facilitate ko some of your questions?
Sure. Please. Okay. Para naman kasi 'di ba, parang I've been speaking for about an hour and a half, and kasi ibang-iba guys pag physical 'di ba? I can engage the crowd, I can just see a hand getting raised. Ito kasi I don't have any visibility. So sayang naman, you know, I'd like to be able to engage with many of you.
Okay. So a lot of them are actually agreeing with what you've been saying, no, like investing, hiring your own people, and the setup. In fact, we had a discussion already about that, you know, lights and everything. So they do agree with everything it's saying. Si Rachel Castañeda asking, yung 300 clients, how long do you build that? I mean, maybe there's a timeline that you need to.
Okay, at first, dapat hindi ka mapili. I'm not saying you will have immediately 300 quality clients. Okay? No, that's not what I meant. I meant just getting yourself into 300 accounts. Minsan nga, yung benta mo dyan, kahit PA lang eh. Kahit, you know, maliit na bagay. For as long as you make them a client. You see, the difficult, challenging part in our profession is this. Once you don't make them a client, and they fall off, ang hirap balikan.
Yeah. Okay.
Di ba kasi pagbalik mo, alam nila, bebentahan mo sila uli. So ayaw na nila makipag-usap. That's the reason why I like it when I can, I can probably converse and try to do financial planning, sell them a big thing. But it doesn't pull through, I'll sell you a little mutual fund here and there. Kahit 25,000 lang, kahit PA na 2,000 lang ang premium. Basta meron, you know why? Kasi pag meron na, guess what? Pwede mong balikan. Kasi kliyente mo na siya eh. So when I'm saying 300 clients, kahit sa umpisa, yung mga relationship, ganun lang. So mabilis lang yan. Yung 300 clients, you can do that in less than 2 years. If you're really, kasi I guess, ang advantage ko kasi naging I think you know, Randall, I did group insurance eh. Mm-hmm. Sa group insurance, ang dami ko kaagad na, relationships, hindi ba? So, I built up my 300 clients really fast.
Okay. So, na question also, no, si Erica's asking, ilang percent nung advisor kayo, ilang percent ng, by the way, they call themselves advisor na, di ba? Tayo agents, no? Anyway, yun lang. Makita wala yung difference ng age, no? The way they refer. Okay. So, ilang percent ng commission nyo, do you allocate for operational expense? Is that, parang, that's a nice question, no? A percentage or something, or do you do that? Do you allocate a certain percent or fixed cost ka kagad?
No, I do. minimum, I would want to throw back 40.
Okay.
40 minimum para I'm also investing in the business.
Okay.
Di ba? Kasi the problem with many advisors is that whatever they earn, they think are theirs.
Mhm.
So walang balik. So pag walang balik, parang you will always be working.
Okay. Okay.
Hindi, kailangan kumakapital ka. So parang even in the relationship, and sila Mark knows this. I mean, we have a certain budget for gifts. We give people, para makapit yung relationship
Yeah.
mo, gagastusan mo sila.
So I guess another way to look at it, no? Syempre sa umpisa, it's gonna be a big part of your commission kasi maliit pa yung volume mo. But as you grow it, of course, it becomes smaller in terms of percentage, but maybe not in absolute amount. So very good. But I like, Diana, I like that you're now thinking na, or maybe I need to allocate. Because one of our friends, good friends, no, Rex, na agency manager, automatic sabi niya, Randall, 6% of whatever I earn goes back to incentive. Very clear siya doon. And it's not a common practice, but a lot of people are surprising. Sabi nila, I'm so, nagagalit sa kanya kasi sobrang generous kasi, di ba? But sabi niya, it's a percentage of what I earn. I'd bring it back. So it's a good way to do it, no? I like that percentage, no? And then later on, there's absolute amounts. So yung tinanong niyo daw dito, kanina sabi ni Carlo, no? You said, sir, that it took you 27 years before Ramber Financial. And in that 27 years, have you experienced such difficulties that almost made you want to quit? And did you plan at all? Did you plan everything at the beginning daw? So.
Alam nyo, ang totoo, yung pinaka-umpisa, yun ang pinakamahirap.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you the truth. I mean, I did not sell anything in 3 months. Nothing in 3 months. And as I've said, I was a rock star. Kilala ko ni Randall. Parang, I became from a lowly account officer to the vice president for group insurance in about 4 years. Then I resigned to be an agent. So the expectation was high. Ito talaga, expectation was high. Tapos all of a sudden, end of 1993 when I resigned and became an agent. Alam niyo pala, hindi pala 3 months eh. Kasi June 1994 yung milestone year ko eh. Milestone month ko, June 1994. Almost in 6 months, walang pumuputok. Puro ko plano, puro ko wala. Nothing happened. And I guess, I don't know if many of you would agree with me, the toughest sales would have been relatives and friends.
Mm-hmm.
Siyempre, sila yung unang prospect ko, pero sila yung pinakamaganit. Kasi mas maganda pa yung eventually hindi mo kilala, di ba? So, when I started, it was like that. And it's almost like I was so insecure. Whenever I went to the office, alam mo yun, praning ka na pinag-uusapan ka na lahat kahit hindi. Na parang, yan, tingnan mo, nagmamarunong, wala naman palang benta. Yung parang ganun, di ba? But you see, when it rains, it pours. In June 1994, that's why I'm gonna say I cannot forget June 1994, because in June 1994, the business I closed was more than my annual income the year before as an employee. June 1994. Isang buwan yun. And I never looked back. So yun na yun. So, did I think about quitting? The answer is yes. I thought it's not such a difficult thing. Mahirap pala talaga kung talagang seseryosohin mo. But as I've said, you just have to do the work.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, people are asking, do you have a seminar or something? A lot of people are, I think, ang maganda, kasi Rex, I know the industry has changed. Very few people give attention to group insurance. I don't know if you've noticed that, no? So, medyo may nabuhay ka sa kanila, no? Do you do coaching or training on that? Or is this something that's going to be out? By the way, he has a YouTube, yung Ramper. Is this something you're gonna pull out in YouTube also? Because I guess marami nagtatanong na about group na ngayon, no? Because
hindi, kung ganun, I can do a video on that, no? Again, it's called institutional selling, no?
Yeah.
When you do institutional selling, yun ang nagiging base mo for individual sales.
Yeah.
It's group selling, but you're creating a pool of prospects for your individual policies. But Randall, you might think about that as a topic for your next masterclass.
Meron tayong masterclass upgrade for those things also. Because ang ganda, no? Because over the years, when I was in the industry in the 90s, no, it was big, no, group insurance. And eventually over the years, it's nawala, and then babalik, nawawala, and people are missing out, I guess, on certain things. You know, it's not just so much of the commissions that you make, but the relationships that you build through group insurance. Yan. So ano daw yung strategic approach to secure corporate account for presentation? Just to give them, how do you get people to listen to you in a corporate presentation?
You know, the nice thing about that is many companies know that they need it already. Because you have to be competitive. Eh. If you don't have employee benefits, your employees will be dissatisfied. It's a maintenance factor now and a hygiene factor in terms of corporate pay.
Okay.
So much so that, you know, papasok pa lang yung tao, tatanungin nila, may health insurance ba dito? May life insurance ba dito? Because typically, companies provide for that now. So ang labanan dyan ngayon is to provide them the best choice, the best benefits for what their premiums can afford, di ba? So ngayon, pag nakuha mo yon, sasabihin mo ngayon yung ano, like, you know, I can provide a service for your employees so that they get to understand what you bought for them.
Okay.
And then from that point, ang dali nang i-slide into an individual sale.
Right.
So, Arlan, I read your message here. Very nice. I thank you as well. I thank you that, you know, we've been known to each other pala since that time, 2012, 2013. So, you know, I'm happy to say that what you've said. So, I guess you made my day there. Thank you.
Okay. So, ano lang, no? Again, Rex has videos. Si Mark just posted it. Rambur Financial's YouTube. Please do subscribe. They're very good, no? I watch that on a regular basis. Okay, so before I let you continue, last one question, make on the light side. What were you doing at the age of 24? Balik tanaw, Rex.
24, I was an employee.
Okay.
I was an employee. I was like really struggling to make a name for myself. And I was in group insurance. I think yun ang ano eh, yun ang sometimes, 'di ba, lagi kong sinasabi, sometimes, you know, God puts you in certain places. You think it's by accident and it's by chance, but you know, it has become a stepping stone for a lot of bigger things in my life. And I always look back. Alam nyo ba ngayon, ito walang halong biro. You can ask people in Philam. Naggawa ako ng reunion for group insurance, Randel. Yung time namin ni Ramon Panotes, if you remember that name, matatanda na sila, no? People are beginning to, like, we're beginning to lose people as if they're of that certain age. So what I did, I sponsored a big reunion. This is not Philam, ha? It's me personally. Tapos, alam mo, nakakatuwa, binigyan ko ng plaque yung mga taong pinagkakautangan ko ng loob. Kasi they are not, you know, they probably wouldn't know the impact they made on my life. Eh. So kami ni Ana at that particular point, we thanked everyone. We gave plaques, we awarded people, and we gave, like ito, walang halong biro. Binigyan namin ng, siyempre, ayokong bigyan ng pera dahil parang pangit. Ginawa ko, Sodexo, binigyan ko lahat ng ano. So parang, dahil party ka ng group insurance, party ka ng buhay ko. And dahil party ka ng buhay ko, you know, you deserve this kind of a reward. No? So, nakakatuwa.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna have more questions for you later on. So turn you over back to Boss Rex. Rex.
Thank you, Randel. I'll go back to sharing my slide. Okay, so tayo yung guarantee, no? But what should we be doing now? I guess many of our companies will be focusing on things like protection planning. They will be focusing on things like investment management. But we will have to do beyond that. We will have to go beyond that. While our companies do mean well in terms of what to put on the table with regard to this type of work and profession, we have to expand that mindset. Eh. Kasi one thing about being a businessman is about owning the client, owning the relationship. So, am I saying that there is a conflict between your company's objective and yours? Not really. Not really a conflict. All I'm saying is that they're not exact exclusive subsets of one another. Siyempre, ang gusto ni Sun Life, ang gusto ni Pru Life, ang gusto ni IL, magpasok tayo ng negosyo, magpasok tayo ng premium. I will not take that away from them. That's a given. But it's incumbent upon you to learn all the other facets of financial planning, whether that gets answered by a product or not. Let me repeat that. That's very important. Whether it gets answered by a product that you sell or not, you have to somehow be knowledgeable at it. At the very least, you have to be able to guide your customer or your client to somewhere else where he can get the assistance or the service. As I've said, dapat galing sa'yo. Now, I'm not going to be in a bit of myopia here, but this is what I'm going to tell you. If you help them in all of these other things, you will constantly have a sale coming from them. Your sales will continuously pour in because you are holistic in your view and you will always be top of mind. Bakit ako tinatanong ng mga kliyente ko with regard to the exchange rate? Bakit ako tinatanong ng mga kliyente ko even with regard to Bitcoin? Di ba? Of all things. Bakit? Kasi trusted advisor ako eh. Pag trusted advisor ako, alam nila, I'm going to be telling them what it is, how it is, without necessarily, putting it down just because it's not a product that I have in my arsenal. They know that. At the end of the day, if it helps them, kahit hindi ko yan binebenta, I will point them to somebody who will be taking care of that service. Pero as I told you earlier, dapat kontrolado ko yung relationship. Hindi ikaw, pupunta ka lang sa kahit kanino, I will relay you or I probably connect you because I'd want to be able to keep the control of your finances. No? So on top of investment management, we have to go towards wealth enhancement. Wealth enhancement would be a host of other things. Like number one, creative tax planning. Kasi alam nyo, wealth is not about earning money. Wealth is about what you keep. Since tax is a leakage, we have to control the leakage. I'm not saying evade taxes. But what I'm saying is, pay the right amount. You might be overpaying. Or, have you protected yourself from future taxes? Hindi ba mas maganda? Deferred taxes din? Hindi ko muna babayaran yung tax, babayaran ko siya later. Kasi pag later ko siya babayaran, lower value yung peso later on. So if I can defer my taxes, I also have to do that. Another part of wealth enhancement is what? It's basic leverage. Very important po ito. How can a client earn more using money that is not his? Diba? Alam nyo, maraming bagay yan. Like, and I tell a lot of people, okay, ready siyang bumili ng real estate. Bibili siya ng isang unit, isang condo unit. Anong sasabihin ko? You know what? With the money that you have, you can buy 2 units. Gawin mo ganitong approach, ganitong hingin nating payment scheme. You can actually buy 2 units. And in 3 years, you can sell 1, libre na yung isa. That is leverage. That is the use of leverage. I can actually, because of my experience in other industries, I can let them go through this, guide them towards making more money because of the leverage that we can put in. Remember this, the wealthiest of people did not earn their money using just their capital. They leveraged on the money of others, and to top it all, more importantly, they leverage on the talent of others. Diba? Sa tingin nyo, nagawa ni Henry C. mag-isa yan? Obviously, Henry C. did that by leveraging on the talent that he got to help him. Ikaw ba, ganun din? Magaling ba yung sekretarya mo? May leverage ka ba? Because if you have a good secretary, a good EA, he or she can actually get value for you. C, wealth and asset protection. Obviously, we know that is insurance, so that's very important. Letter D, charitable giving. Have you set certain things in place so that your client can actually contribute, can actually have a more fulfilled life because he's making a difference on others? Natutulungan mo din ba siya dyan when it comes to giving? And you know this, there's real fulfillment in giving. But when your client doesn't know how to give, may problema tayo. So if you're now able to make him believe that giving gives him more later on, then he's going to be getting a better foothold on the flow of money. Because when you give, the flow comes more freely. And lastly, legacy planning, which is basically not just for their children, but for their children's children, and so on and so forth. So, paano natin sila matutulungan para yung pinaghirapan nila will not stop in just simply 1 or 2 generations? How can we plan things so that we can assure them that maybe even a 4th generation from now, their wealth is not just intact, their wealth is still growing? Okay? So, kailangan magawan din natin ang paraan yon. So, what we can offer? Accurate and timely advice? Laging yan. Kailangan, no? Partnership with accountability. You know, we're not just simply partners. We have to be accountable for the results. Yun ang frustration and disappointment ko sa maraming advisors. Many are great sellers, but they stop there. When you're an accountable advisor, you make sure that the promise of the product, the promise of the service gets delivered. I'm not even saying hintayin mo hanggang mamatay siya. No. What are the benefits that accrue to him while he's alive, while we're doing this? Di ba? Sabi ko nga a lot of people say this, kaya tayo advisor is because, we give people the peace of mind. Some peace of mind that they cannot generate for themselves. We are an advisor. We are the ones behind them to make sure that they have that security. They have that peace of mind. Question, how do you know that they get it? You don't even come up with a review. You don't even meet them after the sale is made. May problema tayo. Kasi yung peace of mind, nakukompute yan. Yung peace of mind, nagagawa ng paraan so that you get to appreciate it. So when I go for a review, I can tell him where his finances are headed, what we have set forth, and how they are performing. Kung hindi man sila performing, hindi ako nagtatago. I tell them that this is the situation and this is where the market is. It might be an opportunity to add. Alam nyo, that's one pride, and then Kim and Mark are part of this crowd. And I'll tell you, Rampver, for its entire history, never had a year of a net redemption. Net sales kami from ever since. Can you imagine that? Net sales, no net redemption performance in any quarter for the last 13 years. Very consistent. Bakit? Kasi para sa amin, pag bumaba yung market, is an opportunity for a client to add on to commitment so that the future will be brighter. I'm not gonna say I'm selling you. I'm just telling you that that's the right thing to do. Now, dalawa lang mangyayari dyan. Number 1, you believe me and you do it. Well and good. You're gonna thank me in 3 to 5 years because a crisis will always be followed by a recovery. However, number 2, hindi ka bumili. In 2 to 3 years, magsisisi ka dahil magkikita tayo ulit. I will show you what could have been if you followed my advice. By then, I will be your next best resort moving forward. So I don't lose anything. Right? So kailangan accountable ka Kailangan accountable ka for what you've set forth. There has to be an effective support system. And we spend for that. We spend for that support system with machines, with people, with engines of linkages and connections, strategies to improve a person's financial position. Ang tanong ko sa inyo ganito, would your clients be better off with you as a part of their lives or not? Think about the clients you have now. Will their financial position be better now than before you entered their lives? If the answer is yes, then well and good. We're on our way. See, if your clients are not in a better financial position, then we're going to be in trouble. You have to make sure they're better because you are part of the equation. You also have to match their life developments with certain developments in the product innovation scheme. Di ba? Kailangan na-evolve din natin eh. Yes, nabentahan mo sila before, but are you able to advise them moving forward about new trends in the industry? The fact that some policies now have wellness embedded in them, which is actually good for them, that their premiums can actually go lower if they're healthier. These are all innovations. Do your clients take advantage of these? Do your clients now have critical illness riders where they can take a big advance on their life policy before they're gone? Dapat kasama yan sa usapan eh. Dapat na-develop mo din sila. See, personalization and trust will rank the highest factors that drive value in financial advisory. Personalization and trust. In all of the primary surveys, ang pinaka talagang valuable sa marami in terms of the financial advisor value is this. These two practical points. Personalization, trust. How do we develop them? Siyempre, whenever communications are there, they're always customized, thoughtful. They're always personal. Di ba? Alam nyo, there is a way of coming up with an email blast. There is a way of coming up with a text blast that will still look personal. You still have to use technology, but there is technology to make that happen. Pag nabasa mo, akala mo sinulat para lang talaga sa'yo. It can be done. Do you have those in your arsenal? If not, then you just have to go through the rigmarole of doing things in a real customized way all the time. Requires a little effort, but pays a lot of dividends. Kasi lapat ka dun sa relationship with the client. Are you highly responsive? When you say you're gonna call back, are you really calling back? When they call you, do you respond? Some of us sometimes disappear. Some of us sometimes are not up to speed on those times when our clients need us. Do we understand their deep feelings and concerns? Sabi ko, a great financial advisor knows the problem of the client with his children. They know the problems with their spouses. Kasi ang financial advisor, personal counselor din eh. We're not just talking about money here. We're talking about emotions. We're talking about relationships. If you don't know it, then you're not close. If you don't know these things, you're not close. You're not invested in the relationship. Or maybe I can even, say that a better way. Your client is not invested in you. When your client is invested in you, they would probably tell you secrets. They will tell you most of the things that are highly personal because trust is there. So it's a chicken and egg thing eh. Pag walang trust, hindi ka pagsasabihan ng mga ganun. Di ba? Pag pinagsabihan ka ng mga ganun, syempre, alam mo na that you're part of their inner circle. That's very important. Error-free ba ang interaction mo? Zero tolerance for errors of any kind. Are you making sure that whatever you share with them would be accurate? Okay? Are you consistent? Is any interaction met with the highest standards of excellence? Are you at your best all the time? Okay? Complete. Non-negotiable, you follow up and follow through. Wawabol ba talaga yan? Will you consider your service excellent enough that your client is wowed with it? Okay? So, this only happens when you're completely aligned. When you have, number one, the competence, the experience, you have the service capability, and you're really interested with that client personally. Now, ito na, very important ito. Siyempre, on the revenue side, we really have to deal with a ton of marketing here. When you're in a business, the flow of clients and customers will be a must. And that will not happen if you're not marketing. Marketing in our context would be prospecting. Okay? So, will your business come from these target markets? high net worth, professionals, OFWs, employees. I've been asked time and again, Rex, kailangan ba talagang pumili? Di ba? Kasi bago pa lang ako sa industriya, how would I know? Okay, I'm not gonna tell you to choose immediately. If you're new, might be difficult to choose. But there are things that you can draw from. First of all, if you're an employee yourself, then you know what employees go through. That by itself is an experience to do well for your clients. If you're an OFW, then certainly you will remember and understand OFW is better because you've been part of it. It's been part of your life, right? So, kailangan alamin mo rin where your strengths lie. Now, as I've said, at first, you might not have to make choices. But when you're already getting to a scheme of things where you're growing clientele, I would still have what I call predominant segments. Certain specialties, high net worth, maybe professionals, for some of you who are OFWs, yung meron kang dalawa na expertise mo talaga. Kasi alam nyo, let me go with an analogy here. What do we like? Okay? A crust of soil this thick, tapos 1 hectare ang coverage. Or a hole this big, pero 1 kilometro yung lalim. I guess, as people, we have to have a cross-section, hindi ba? Because you cannot go deep into a segment when you're doing so many segments. You can go deep into the understanding and to the appreciation of needs when you're studying very specific markets. You cannot be jack of all trades for a wide network because that's too heavy to bear. Okay? So, ako, feeling ko, dapat meron pa din tayong konting expertise. Then, once you make a selection, it will now be a matter of access. You have to build on your competency in dealing with their needs. You have to understand their needs to be able to do that. You have to have the connection. Anong ibig sabihin ng connection? Di ba? Yung referrals mo, kadalasan na magre-refer sa'yo, galing din sa segment na yun kasi. That's the reason why I like the specialties. I like to have the focus. Why? Because when someone like in high net worth gives me a referral, kadalasan high net worth din yun. Hindi naman yun magre-refer ng iba. Right? So if I have the expertise, I'd rather deal with that because my access is going to be what I call relevant access. So the connection is going to be there. And the last one is affinity. Is being where they are, being, in places and organizations they're part of, and in doing what they do. For example, you're looking for high net worth. Nasaan ba sila lagi? Maybe you have to get yourself into what I call like charitable organizations. You volunteer. Ang mga nasa charitable organizations, di ba, usually the people in that board, they're all rich. Di ba? They have the time to do philanthropy. So they should have the money. But I don't tell you to do these things to get business. No. Business will come automatically because you're active in that circle. Be conscious of your business process. I am so sure Randall would have gone through some of these, like power introduction, that elevator speech, and then doing those skills like solution selling and questioning. For those of you who have been, part of PRU, we did that, yung questioning skills program, where we had like one whole session, one whole seminar, just simply on framing questions. Kasi di ba, nakakatuwa, in many of our seminars, we're told, ask more questions, but nobody really trained you to frame the questions. So how do you ask questions that are useful? How do you direct a client in a conversation where your questions aren't exactly under pinpoint precision? So you have to know how to ask. And then get yourself into solutions implementation, using the right products to match needs, and then definitely after that, monitoring and adjustments. So this is where I capture everything. I don't care if you're familiar with all of those other products, but can you direct him to a person who is? Okay, again, I'm going to tell you this. Okay, this is the total net worth of a person. And the total net worth has to be optimized. Optimization only happens when you balance growth and risk, when you're putting them in a very optimal tax treatment, balancing access and liquidity with the right distribution and the right expense for distribution. Problem is this, many of us are concentrated and focused on life insurance. So, paano mangyayari yung iba? Now, because of master classes such as this, na ituro sa atin ni Marvin, na ituro sa atin ni Randall, yung ibang mga areas, kahit papano, we have educated knowledge. Initial educated knowledge. Kahit papano, we can converse. But, if a client all of a sudden says, Rex, palagi ko gusto kong pasukin itong negosyong to or itong investment na to. Matutulungan mo ba ako? May connection ka ba to that? So I tell you, in my younger years, and up till today, I have that circle. That circle, I can use to refer. Dati real estate, I have brokers and property specialists to refer them to. And because I'm referring clients to them, they also refer clients to me. It becomes such a productive ecosystem. Eh ngayon, iba na broker na rin yung anak ko So kanino ko ngayon i-refer? Di doon sa anak ko, kanino nagre-refer yung clients ng real estate papunta sa akin? Di yung anak ko din. So, ganun na ngayon. Di ba? But, do you have the contacts? Kasi, alam nyo, let us face it, if you don't, they will find them anyway. They will find them anyway. And when they do, and it's not done through you, paano yun? Sayang, di ba? Sayang lang siya. So, when you get down to financial advisory as a business, you have to deal with this as a genuine profession. You have to have the activity for it. Activity management is a must. There is no excuse. Then you do multiple platforms. You have to have to have a website, a Facebook page. Maganda, tinuruan kayo ng master class na ito to do all of that. But it has to be multiple. Hindi na ngayon pwede yung isa lang. Talagang we have to be everywhere. And lastly, it has to be sustainable. Now, this is very important. We have to deal with it with a mindset of customer experience. It's a journey. And within the journey, the client is to enjoy the process. But, hindi lang enjoy yung process, they also have to achieve the objectives of the service. This has to be taken together. Any situation today, you want to be good in business, you have to have great customer experience. Di ba sabi ko, ano ba yung produkto? Tayo yung produkto Service yung produkto Enjoy ba siya in the process? Is he happy with what he has been achieving because of your presence, because of your advice? How is the experience here? Alam niyo ba ginagawa pa namin dito? Step by step. All the facets of the engagement, and then we rank it. Where are we weak? Where are we strong? Where we can improve the customer experience. And then we improve on that year after year after year. We have to be a learning organization. Now, share ko lang sa inyo, sabi ko kanina, my failures. Bakit ba ako nag-fail in some businesses? Low level of involvement and understanding. Akala ko pag nagbigay ako ng pera, okay na. Mali pala yun. I have to understand the business. I have to participate. I have to be actively involved. Weak business models. Not clear revenues, not clear expenses. Absence of controls and work systems. Unclear agreements and contracts. Be mindful of contracts, whether they're friends or not. People can take advantage, or worse, they're not taking advantage, but they just don't know what they're doing. That's a bigger problem. Mission is not shared by the team. That is an issue as well. Wrong partners. You have to have the right partners. Now, How do I succeed in certain businesses? It's almost a flip side to those failures. The right people, clear interest and appreciation. Ayoko nang pumasok sa negosyo na wala akong alam, na hindi ako interesado. And I always deal with the right systems and structure. Now, the more important thing is this, that I choose to be with the right people as well. And as I've said, my friendships with Randall, my friendships with Dodong, Marvin, Salve, Edric, that group of people. And on this other side, syempre yun, alam nyo, minsan nawawala ako doon dahil mga bata eh. So, I also have a veteran cast. This is Brother Bo's, what we call a mastermind group. And we have also personalities there. Mas may, kika nga eh, mas may maturity, so to speak. But these are people who continuously inspire me, who set me up for more motivation. Kasi I don't know if I've told you this, but it's always a function of the way people bless you, a function of the way people relate to you. Like, I can tell you this. I mean, a lot of people will tell me, Rex, you're such a great speaker. Diba? Alam ko naman yun. I'm not going to be, falsely humble about that. I know that's true. I often say, thank you. Diba? Pero I'm in a group here with somebody who can make you laugh and cry in a span of 5 sentences. I'm in a group, Randall, Edric, Dodong. They're great speakers as well. I learn while I'm with them. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, kung live lang itong masterclass na ito, kung live lang ang mga seminars na Icon, Randall can tell you, I am there from the start till the end. Hindi ako yung dadating magsasalita ta sa alis na. I am there from the start till the end. Why? Because I want to learn from other people as well. I want the inspiration from other people as well. People know I manage my own portfolio. I manage my business. Ramper, sabi ko kanina, 30,000 clients, 10 billion in assets. Ay nandito si Edward Lee. Edward Lee has over 300,000 clients and has over 200 billion in assets. How can you not be inspired, di ba? Akala mo big time ka na. Pagkatabi mo yung mga ganyan, marirealize mo, malayo ka pa. You want to be like them when you grow up. Di ba? So, make sure you have the right group to hang out with. Kasi kung ikaw na ang pinaka big time sa grupo mo, may problema ka. May problema ka. You will not grow too much because you think you already have everything there. And the thing with this group is this. Hindi naman nagpapayabangan ng mga assets yan. Itong real estate guru dyan. Akala ko, okay na ako eh. I'm renting out what? More than 30 properties, houses, condos, townhouses. I have 30 to rent out. Akala ko big time na ako eh. This guy has 650 units. 650 real estate properties to lease out. O di ba? Paano ka hindi ma-i-inspire? Di ba? Akala mo big time ka na? Wala ka pang sinabi. Marami ka pang matututunan. Pero nakakatuwa pag nag-exchange kami ng mga to, ang usapan is, paano tayo makakatulong sa iba? Walang payabangan as to what we have and how we earn. No. How do we make a difference in others? Hindi ko na sasabihin, isa dyan, nagulat ako eh, binisita ko, di ba? Pinuntahan ko sa bahay niya. I was driving my Maserati. Okay? Hindi ko naman, alam naman na marami yun. I have a Maserati and my other car na pinapalitan nun is a Ferrari. Di ba? Akala ko big time na ako eh. Talaga namang okay na eh. Di ba? Pagdating ko sa bahay niya, yung mga sasakyan niya, mga 4x4, syempre, nasa construction eh. Pero they're not as flashy as mine. They're Land Cruisers, Fortuner. Pero nung kumakain kami, humingi ng allowance yung anak. Tapos ang sabi niya dun sa bata, honey naman, no, nagla-lunch kami ni Tito Rex, you know, you can, alam mo naman, you have a card, you know, just get it there. You have a card, just get it there. Pag silip ko, guys, walang halong biro. May ATM sa bahay to. How much money do you have for Banco de Oro to put an ATM in your house? Di ba? So akala ko Maserati ako, akala ko yaman ko na eh. Oh, I went home that day feeling purita. Di ba? Kasi wala pa akong ATM sa bahay at hindi ko alam kung magkakaganon pa ako in my lifetime. Right? So, hang out with the right people because at the end of the day, the right people will influence you, will inspire you, and will make this business a worthwhile endeavor to be in. Guys, I'm so sorry I went ahead of time. I mean, too much. But actually, baka kaya ko pang isa pang session eh. It's just that I'm so excited with what I have to share, but I hope you get to you all appreciated what I did, and I hope this is not the last time I get to engage with all of you. I'm so thankful that we're together this evening. I'm so thankful that I'm given by Randall the honor and the privilege to be able to share what I have, share what I've learned in my business, in my career, in my profession with all of you guys, and I hope that I've become a blessing for you this evening. Thank you so much. Thank you. Blessings always.
All right. Actually, sabi nila hanggang 12 daw, willing daw sila makinig. Ano? So, this group really are amazing. Di sila napapagod. Yun lang, I've heard that story of the ATM multiple times, pero it's still incredible when you hear who would have an ATM in their house, right? Sige. Yan yung question nila. Tsaka, ito lang guys, ito from experience working with Rex, being with him, be secure with what you have. Kasi pag kinumpare mo sarili mo kay Rex, wala nang hope sa buhay, no? Pero okay lang yan. I know, because there are other things that, but really, very, very helpful na. Ang galing lang, no? I said, as always, I have this tendency for them to also be blessed and learn from you guys. No, that's why I brought in. If you notice, no, kilala mo lahat din ng mga nagtuturo. So ganyan po tayo. We want to do that because we need each other to build up. And as we said, ang layo-layo pa ng industry. We have seen some great changes over the years, Rex, no? Pero we're still so far away from everybody, and the only way for us to because we love the industry, we need to be better at these things. Then that's the reason why Masterclass was created as a response, and siguro our way to help you guys, especially when the pandemic happened and so forth and so on. So Rex, are you okay pa to answer a few questions? Okay lang ba?
Sure.
So guys, if you have any questions, sulitin nyo na to kasi syempre, di ba? It's not every day that you get a chance to work with Rex. So para lang Rex, we had Marvin Guillermo, we had Alvin Ang, and then the younger guys that you met, sila Garrett, no? Kasi para naman, all ages tayo dito.
Pero pare, I've seen your list of faculty. Grabe. That's quite a list, no? Yeah. Alvin, I look up to. I mean, all of them I look up to. I mean,
we're all good friends. Yun yung maganda, magkakasama po kami dito. Share ko lang, ang saya-saya namin pag magkakasama. Yun nga lang, it's what I miss, no? Yung aming mga coffee na kahaba-haba, dinner na hindi matapos, or breakfast. I remember one time somebody joined us for breakfast, no? We were out of the I think we were out of town. We had Marvin, me, Rex, Dodong was there. Somebody just joined us. Sabi niya, grabe, nagbe-breakfast kami. Di daw siya makakain. Was listening to all of us. Para daw niya nagma-masterclass during breakfast. So, I mean, of course, it's Dodong. And Dodong is gonna be here on Friday naman. So, we have these bonus sessions and we invite Dodong to also, to get them, to motivate them and to put them on the right side, no? Yung Maserati mo, that's the Levante, right? That's the crossover. Okay, so yan yung situation. Pero si Rex, syempre yung Maserati Ferrari niya, special occasions lang. Yung everyday pang grocery, pang work niya, BMW X5. Yun yung ano niya, yun yung pangharabas niya. So, yung okay lang daw magaskasan yan. So, that's what he does. So, awa naman kami. No? But anyway, so, go ask questions. Oh, that's a good question. How do you ask good questions? Si Andrew Soro is asking. Yan, ang gandang tanong.
Ayan, it really is it's very important for us to know that when we ask questions, that there are objectives behind those questions. Some people get to ask questions just to elicit information, pero walang order. Okay? So, let me give you an example. If you ask what I call background questions, you will get factual answers. Where do you work? Ilan ang anak mo? San kayo madalas magbakasyon? You know, when you ask questions like those, they give you information, and then where do you get to after you know those answers? So kailangan may progression. Pagkatapos ng background question, dapat pa konti-konti, every 3 background questions, susundot ka ng problem question. Problem question happens to be like this. Like for example, sir, saan ba kayo nag-i-invest ngayon? Diba? So syempre, factual ang sagot niya. O meron akong placement dito, meron akong ganyan sa bangko doon, meron akong funds, meron akong Bitcoin, ganyan-ganyan. Okay. Pasok dito, are you happy with the way you're earning? Oh, problem question yan. Kasi ang sagot dyan, hindi factual, emotive, whether he's satisfied or not. So it becomes opinionated. Now, if the answer is, I'm not happy, ayan na, may problema ka na. Pag sinabi niyang happy siya, then you go to another conversation, factual na naman. Pero pag sinabi niyang unhappy siya, susundan mo na ngayon yan ng consequence questions na why are you unhappy, sir? Do you know other instruments that have paid a little more? Are you now worried about you not hitting your financial objectives because you're not earning the right way? Diba? Ano na to ngayon? Ang tawag dito, consequence question. Binibuild mo na sa utak niya na kailangan niya solusyonan itong problemang ito. Right. Tapos pagdating niya sa dulo, value question. Sir, how would you feel about me presenting something which can be a solution to this? Right. O doon ka palang magpa-product presentation. See, that's the reason why I tell a lot of financial advisors, tayo parang when we drop the statement saying we're solution sellers, we're solution selling, akala mo punchline eh. Hindi eh. Ang totoong solution selling, nakahanap ka ng problema, sinosolve mo. Hindi yung nagtanong ka, saan ka nagtatrabaho, tapos meron na akong proposal. Ilang taong ka na, may proposal na ako. Yeah. Hindi ganoon eh. Di ba? Talagang kailangan may probing, talagang kailangan may proseso. So, again, framing questions would be very important. And again, that's another part of a masterclass, Randel. Pag siguro gusto mong gumawa ng another upgrade na, yun sa mga lahat ng nag-masterclass na, yeah, ito na yung higher level na questioning skills naman, di ba? But
that's in the pipes na, and that's in the works, no? Parang I just have to generate enough. Kasi, di ba Rex, alam mo naman yung frustration natin with training, we feel na hindi tama yung turo. Kulang, hindi naman sa mali, kulang yung turo. And that's why advisors, we really, at una-una, pasalamat ako, nag-enroll kayo, no? You want to take it on yourself to level up the program and do it further. All right? So anybody more questions pa rin? You know, gawa ka doon ng YouTube suggestion, A Day in the Life of Rex. A Day in the Life of Rex, it's all about work and Coke Zero. I think that's, so unless nagbakasyon siya, no? May trivia ako sa inyo, may trivia ako. I hope Rex, I know it's a fun trivia. Are you familiar with the show Shark Tank? Rex, you're familiar with the show? I'm sure.
Yeah.
No? Do you know that Rex has a Shark Tank? A literal Shark Tank. As in may shark. Okay? And not, I'm an aquarist, no? And it's just an aquarium. It's like a pool size may shark. So technically, Shark Tank siya. Okay? So ganun ka-literal yung pagka-Shark Tank niya. Okay? So, again, you know, veterans, ang dami, no? Okay, Mark, please, again, I know you shared the link of the Rubber YouTube. It's very helpful. Can you put it up again? Okay, one lang also, no? If you want to see the life of Rex, one of his passion is watches. Meron siyang tinapos ko to Rex, part 1 and part 2 na YouTube mo. Halfway through the first YouTube on your watches, gusto ko na patayin yung YouTube. Pero tinapos ko, no? Pero yeah, another his passion check it out. But you'll see the story. No, it's not all about value. It's also the memories that it brings. Heidi, if you really want to get to know Rex, watch that video, watch that YouTube. It's still up, ano, yung watches story mo. So, ano yan, I finished it. I finished the whole part 1 and part 2. Ito, nice question, no?
Ito, sandali, Randall, i-share ko yung
I saw
YouTube
it.
channel.
Yes.
Na nandyan din yung QR code.
Yeah.
So pwede na lang nilang barilin yan.
Okay.
And you see, ang lalandingan nilang YouTube dyan is yung bonus session natin last masterclass mo.
Yes.
Diba? So,
okay, yeah.
Kasi binigyan ako ng topic ni Randall, it was being a great advisor in the new normal.
Yeah.
So it was a bonus session in the last masterclass. Last masterclass kasi bonus session lang ako. This time, I'm already part of the faculty.
The last bonus session mo, Rex, was a combination, I think, of 2 or 3 classes put together. So parang it was a special offer.
For them, if they want to watch that, barilin lang nila tong QR code na to.
Good.
Pupunta sila dun sa session na yon, and hopefully they will subscribe to that channel as well.
Grabe, Rex, pa-QR code ka na. Ang galing ng tao mo. Anyway, so okay. So ano question, no? Sir, to nice question. What is your outlook for the Philippines in the next 10 years or 20 years? Tinatanong ni Edward.
Nako, I can tell you, I am so overly optimistic, no? Our long-term fundamentals are so good. I'm not going to even discuss the way politics can have an impact on it, all of these calamities, all of these issues like the pandemic. But there are long-running fundamentals like our demographic window, which is a variable that's really a plus to us. Average age of 23, median age 24.
Yeah.
In a domestic market such as that, mahirap talunin yan. Number 2, if I'm going to show you the kind of infrastructure that we're going to see getting built in the next 5 years, magugulat kayo, no? Kasi ako, di ba, Randall, what do you call this? I have this consulting agreement with Ayala Land, no? So kita ko lahat ng nangyayari because of the researches they have. Can you just imagine in the next 5 years, there are going to be 248 kilometers. 248 kilometers of roads, bridges, rail within Metro Manila only. Metro Manila pa lang yan. So magkakaroon ka ng subway, MRT 7, magkakaroon tayo sa Quezon City ng Grand Central Station. Duktong-duktong sa Grand Central Station, magkadikit ito sa Trinoma and SM North EDSA.
Oh.
It's right in the middle of that, where LRT 1, MRT 3, and MRT 7 are gonna be connected, and the subway is going to be connected. So anong ibig sabihin? Santa Maria, Bulacan ka, makakarating ka ng airport all through rail, which is something we've only seen in Japan, we've only seen in Taiwan, in Hong Kong, and Singapore. Mangyayari ito in the next 5 years. Okay. And then, a real railway that goes straight ahead to the airport of Bulacan and Clark, tas hanggang Calamba, Laguna. Tapos, a highway that's going straight to Bicol, all the way to, ito magugulat kayo, Bicol ito, konektado siya, NLEX, SCTEX, lahat-lahat yan. Dire-diretso yan hanggang La Union. Hanggang San Juan, La Union. The surfing capital of the Philippines. Biro mo yun, konektado lahat yun. Ang Baguio will be 3 hours. Baguio will be 3 hours. So, if you're going to be looking at all of this, can you just imagine how much real estate will be in the next 5 years?
Kaya bumili
how much investments will be in the next 5 years?
Kaya sobra ko nakikinig kay Rex, bumili ako ng Vertis North kasi dun siya.
Yan. Vertis North, nako, that will be unlocked, Brandela. The value of that will be unlocked in the next 3 years.
Good.
Grand Central Station.
We bought it in one of those seminars we're doing 2016 or something like that, 2017. So again, at the end of the day, di ba, advisors lang sinabi ko, di ba, you guys practice what you preach. You don't just sell financial products, you own them. And then, so there's a conviction. you invest yourself, you also grow your wealth, no? You important, and that's what we've been, I think that's the defining, the difference on what we've been telling you guys. We want you to practice what you preach. We want you to walk the talk. So when Rex is talking like this, makaka-relate ka. Maybe hindi ka magkakamaserati. Baka hanggang ano ka lang, hanggang Everest ka lang. Pero okay din yun, di ba? But at least you're getting that. You're getting to somewhere. Kung bumibili siya ng minimum properties, condo ka, pwede rin yun. That's still part of it. So you make this as a jumping point, and you've seen that over the years. All right. So let me.
Somebody's asking the location, Randall. What I'm talking about sa Grand Central is between SM North EDSA and Trinoma.
Yep.
So if the Grand Central is going to be there, ang puputok na real estate will be Bertis North. Kasi yun ang nasa tabi nun eh. So the properties that are there are Albeo, there's Abida there. Makikita nyo that will be the future because that's the only organized CBD in Quezon City.
And this is from guys like sila David, Leach, and everything. They feel that Quezon City is undervalued. So people have always looked somewhere else. So there's opportunities here. So yan. So again, I know this is going to take a longer time, but so I guess Rex, no, I want to encourage them also. This is an opportunity to accumulate. What's happening today is an accumulation phase. So if it's going to take 3 years, 4 years, 5, so be it. And then you have longer time to accumulate kung nag-accumulate kayo. Yan yung big challenge. Kung hindi kayo nag-accumulate kayo ng gastos lang, problema tayo dyan. Yan. So, yan tama, no? Para daw magiging Singapore. Yes, correct. Alright, so, okay, anybody else? Saan ba dapat kami mag-accumulate, Ryan? Okay. Yan, siyempre, diversified portfolio. You start with what you can afford. Diba? Mutual funds, VULs are always the starting point. And then you build from there. Yun yung point eh. Diba? Tinuruan na, kaya nga namin kayo tinuruan ng stock market and everything, diba? Para you start building from that. Like, eto maganda Rex, no? This is a good question. Stocks ba o funds ba? Yan ah. If you can only choose one, I know your answer is both, no? But you can only choose one, or kaya siguro starting, where should they start? Do they select stocks first, or should they start with funds? Tawag mutual fund and UITF.
Well, Randall, sa akin kasi, I think in this particular case, you share this idea with me more than Marvin. Mm-hmm. Kasi 'di ba? Para sa akin kasi may graduation 'yan eh. Mm-hmm. When you're starting, when you're learning, 'di ba? It's always better to have some guidance. Yung kumbaga kahit sabihin na natin analogy ko diyan, mahjong, 'di ba? Pag umupo ka kagad, sigurado kawawa ka do sa mga katabi mo. 'Di ba? Kasi matagal na sila naglalaro eh. Eventually they'll get your money. Pero siguro dapat ang umpisa, amuyong ka muna, doon ka sa likod, bumakas ka lang doon sa magaling. That's a mutual fund, right? Mm-hmm. And then you begin to understand how they move, what they do, why they do what they do. And then, pwede ka na umupo. So, I'm not gonna say you're always gonna win, but at the very least, you know more than just directly sitting down there without knowing anything. Diba? So, sa akin, graduation. Plus, pag nag-uumpisa ka, you're not supposed to take too much risk. Eh. Mm-hmm. Kasi alam niyo nagiging problema ng Pilipino ganito. Nag-umpisa, napaso, hindi na magtutuloy.
We see that, di ba? Yung mga Rex nakakausap natin sa Dubai, di ba? Nasunog agad sa stocks. We had to re-educate them and get their feet wet again in investing. Kasi sabi namin, pangpasok mo funds. Then eventually mag-grow ka. Anong nangyari? Baliktad. So, tapos pa yung mga binili na hype pa. Ayan.
Todo risk agad eh.
Oh.
So pag too much risk sa umpisa, napaso, ayaw na. Samantalang pag mutual fund, hindi ka naman pwedeng matalo ng ganung kalaki sa mutual fund dahil managed siya eh, di ba? Mm-hmm. So I guess you have to put yourself in a situation to still learn before you make big bets. And tamang-tama, pag lumalaki na yung pera mo sa funds, pwede ka na ngayon magdiretso kasi hindi ka na masusunog ng todo, meron ka ng reserve, di ba?
Tsaka di ba Rex, we teach everybody mag-diversify. Kung pera mo 10, 15, 20,000, di ba ma-diversify yan? Pero in a fund, it's already diversified in itself. So there are practical, even if there is a cost, I think it's the cost is well worth the price. And bigyan kayo ng konting tip. 'Di ba, naka-invest kayo sa funds. Tingnan niyo kung saan naka-invest yung funds. From there you can choose, ano ba, okay, bakit ang laki ng ano ko, ang laki ni X fund dito kay Globe. O tingnan nga natin ano meron kay Globe. You can now start to do that. So, yan yung question. Mark is asking, ano daw growing stock for long or medium term stocks that you can recommend? Diba? Stock picking na tayo ngayon.
Ako kung talagang medium to long term and stick to the big names. Stick to the big names. I'm not going to go wrong with an Ali, AC, SM, SM Prime. I mean, eventually, ngayon lang, syempre, badly battered yan kasi COVID. Pero babalik at babalik yan. Hindi mo naman pwedeng...
At saka nakita nga natin nung nagkaroon ng movement, sila una rin nag-umakyat eh.
Exactly.
Kasi nga, they're very profitable. And
saka hindi pa rin sila lugi. Kahit sabihin mong masama na yung performance nila, 8 billion pesos pa yung kinita eh.
Nabawasan lang yung kita.
Oo, di ba?
Pero tsaka I guess there's new options, no, yung mga REITs kasi may A-REIT na tayo and stuff like that. You can also consider that. Okay, so tama, I also hold those things. If I want to add something medyo nakita ko in the future, maybe ASEN kasi that's the direction of the future also. Kind of came in a little late. Ko nire-review niyan, Rex, yung ASEN. Sabi ko, but it makes a lot of sense why this is very important. Now, ito magandang question kasi millennials to mga to, di ba? Now, the millennials need to deal with the Gen Z na. Okay? Mga apo levels na to, Rex, no? Kasi, di ba, sila, ganyan, stocks. Si Gen Z nasa crypto, ibang laro na nila. No? So, best advice sa mga Gen Z na gustong high-risk investment agad like cryptocurrency. How will this, baliktad na, kayo mga kuya na ngayon, mga kuya millennials na kayo ngayon, how would you now guide the next? Kasi sila na yung mga nag-i-invite na nagkatok sa mga high school. Di ba? Hindi na tayo, sila na. So, how can they guide the next generation also?
I guess we all know that these are all instruments eh. And because they are all instruments, we can always study them and see what they have. Like, ano ba talaga yung intrinsic value? Ano ba talaga yung sense of valuation because of supply and demand? So, at the end of the day, it's much like ang tingin ko, and I can tell you this, Randel, nag-aral na rin tayo ngayon. Kasi, di ba, as I told you before, nung una, binabaliwala natin yan, that's too much of a gamble, wag na lang, ganyan. Pero ngayon kasi, it's getting mainstream kasi bigger and bigger companies in the US are putting money in crypto eh.
Already now, it's too big.
So, hindi mo na siya pwedeng iwasan. Talagang, ano ba talaga siya? Kailangan aralin mo na din. Now, ang tingin ko sa kanya, it can be today's digital gold. Yung gold nung panahon natin, yun ang crypto ngayon. Di ba?
Particularly Bitcoin.
Custodian of value eh. 'Di ba? Custodian of value. Pero ano ba talaga value niya? Kasi pag hinawakan mo yung gold, 'di ba? Pag ginawa mo naman jewelry yan, dekorasyon lang yan. Pero store of value siya. Ganon din ang Bitcoin, ginawa mo lang virtual eh. 'Di ba? So ngayon, I will be putting part of my money but it shouldn't be something that I can lose.
Yeah, okay.
'Di ba? It should be something okay sa akin mawala. Kasi tingnan mo alam niyo. Bigyan ko kayo example. I have a client, ito real this is a real example. Ano lang ito, mga last week lang, told me that she's putting out a placement in a bank kasi sinabihan siya ng mga anak niya na mag-crypto. And she's pulling out like 10 million.
Wow.
Sabi ko, ha? Sigurado ka dyan, Lisa? Kasi ganito sabi ko sa kanya, alam ko proceeds ito ng death claim ng mister niya eh. And yung mister niya sobrang conservative. Sabi ko, sigurado ka na pang crypto yan or you might want to put like 500,000 at most in crypto. If you have a 10 million na ipe-place, 500,000 malaki na yan. Okay? Malaki na yan kasi 500,000 is already 5%. Diba? And true enough, sige, sabi ko naman, well, let's evaluate. But come up with do my advice and let's come back to it. Alam mo from the time we were talking, down na ang crypto ng 20% ngayon. Kasi nag-58 eh. Kaya sila ginaganahan ng 58 na yung Bitcoin eh. Ngayon 46 na lang, 45. Oh, I'm not gonna say it's not gonna come back. Pero you cannot base your future, lalo na itong byuda, ha? In an instrument that can go up and down by 20% in less than a week.
In a day, actually, it can.
So,
Sige.
di ba, mahirap
Yeah.
yan. Hindi mo pwedeng ano. Sabi ko, syempre, sige, hanggang 5% pwede na. Pero don't risk it too much.
So I guess no, Edward, the best advice is it's a genuine advice. You let them understand the risks. But sometimes, especially for younger people, just like when you were younger, they need to make the mistakes also. So, pag nasunog yan, matututo yan. Now, the good news is, bata pa yan, hindi pa pwede pa magsunog ng pera yan. So, minsan, wag nyo na kontrahin. Remind nyo lang, like kami, remind lang naman tayo eh. So I guess that's a great way. Kayo naman, ganyan din naman kayo dati. Di ba? Ngayon, tumatanda na kayo, nag-adulting na kayo. So, ganyan lang yung mga situations natin. So, minsan talaga one of the best advice Rex gave me 15 years, I don't know, too long ago is, kung gusto mo aralin yan, tayaan mo. O, di ba? Huwag mo taya lahat, pero tayaan mo ng konti. O, di ba? So, that's a good way to do
Hindi ka rin matututo pag wala kang taya.
Wala kang skin on the game. Kumbaga, you have to put some skin on the game as well. So, okay. I guess you know more of this, no? What can you say? It's a business model. Ano ba tingin niyo sa IMG? I mean, what makes IMG set apart? Ano ba daw dapat baguhin ng IMG setup? I guess si Carlito taga-IMG. So, may mga IMG na rin na nag-enroll ngayon. So, yeah.
Okay, ang IMG kasi is a very disruptive model, no? It's a very, very different business model. A lot of people think it's a multi-level company, no? I might have to say they probably started that way. Mukhang multi-level nung time na galing siya ng WFG. Pero today, the way I see it is that it's a membership platform that's founded on education. It's an educational platform eh. So, hindi siya exactly product-based kasi open architecture sila when it comes to products eh. Although they have links to insurance, to healthcare and all that. Pero ang talagang foundation that binds everything together is the membership that gives education benefits. Tapos marami siyang para siyang Costco. If you are familiar with Costco. So, they don't exactly compete with the insurance companies. They don't compete with the financial advisors. You know, alam nyo, we have room for everyone. I am going to be very, very honest with that. There is room for everyone to flourish, to succeed, to become financially capable and then financially prosperous. Pero all I can tell you is this. Kakaiba kasi yung ng IMG because of their culture eh. Alam nyo I mean, let me tell you this. Kung yung culture ng IMG, isaksak natin sa isang insurance company, palagay ko magbabago din eh. Kasi ako ayokong tingnan yung differentiation in business model, wala naman differentiation sa turo. Yung turo pareho din eh. At talagang there is nothing debatable about what they're teaching. It's still the basics of personal finance. Di ba? Nagbebenta sila, Randall, ng libro mo eh. Kumakalat doon yung libro mo sa IMG, di ba? So, anong pinagkaiba? Ang pinagkaiba is their business model. Kasi sa kanila, I'm not gonna be an agent, I'm gonna be a member, and I'm going to be asking other members to come in and, I'll just buy for myself. Parang ganun. No, pero teka lang, balik ko yung culture. Naging presidente kasi ako ng insurance company, di ba? At alam mo naman kung saan ako nagpresidente, Randall, di ba? So, ganito yung situation, di ba? Gagawa ka ng convention. Okay, convention. Yung convention opens 8 o'clock. 8:30 na, kalahati wala pa. Di ba? Kalahati ng tao wala pa. Okay? Tapos hindi mo lang mapakain. Reklamo na lahat. O papakainin mo, hindi masarap. Lumiliit yung tenga, hindi na nakikinig. Ganun ang mga advisors eh. So I hope this new breed of advisors that we're teaching and bringing up are going to be very different. Now, let me connect you to IMG. IMG, kasi lagi nila akong speaker sa kanilang mga convention. Okay? Ang aga ko doon, kunyari yung convention mag-uumpisa 8. 7:30 pa lang, papasok ako, nagsasayawan na sila sa loob, puno na. The line started 5 in the morning. Can you imagine, 8 o'clock yung convention, 5 in the morning may pila na. Okay? Yung buong convention, walang pakain. Walang pakain. Pagkatas ng break, ikaw ang kakain mag-isa mo. So, what am I saying? Iba yung culture eh. Parang, kung magdadala mo yung culture na yun in any other business model, it will also succeed. So, parang ang nangyayari, it's more the attitude and the behavior, more than the product, more than the system, more than the way it works. Para sa akin, ang big differentiator would be the culture of the people.
Okay. So very important. Now, again, at the end of the day, as I told you, you can make a difference in where you are. In the groups that you have, you're a unit manager, you start from the unit. You're a branch, you start with the branch. Or just a few of you can start. So that's the whole idea because sobrang dami pa kailangan gawin natin. One question with all this development, digital insurance, digital investing, GCash is now launching their, a more robust investment and stuff like that. How will this play with the role of the financial advisors today?
That's the most, that's the best question, Randel. I mean, coming from you, kailangan kasi yan siguraduhin natin, no? All of these digital things, no, called financials, soon to be launched yung G-Invest, no? Kailangan alamin natin na like even Singapore Life, di ba? Hindi naiintindihan ng marami. These are different markets. These are different markets. They don't compete with each other. Kunyari yung G-Invest, 50 pesos to 1,000 yun eh. Hindi ka naman makakabuo ng retirement mo ng 50 pesos to 1,000, di ba? Ang strategy nila, turuan yung mga bago to start with the habits and discipline that is required. Ngayon, kung 10,000 na ang pera mo, dyan mo pa ba ilalagay? Kung 50,000 na, o lalo-lalo na kung milyon na pera mo, ilalagay mo pa rin ba dyan? Siyempre hindi na. Kailangan may advisor ka na, kailangan diretso na yung account mo dun sa principal provider kasi graduate ka na. Pero itong mga to, huwag tayong maging worried dyan kasi, di ba, all of these are just parang startups eh to begin the idea. In fact, makakatulong nga sa atin yan eh. Dahil kung mas maraming taong nag-umpisa ng maaga, gagraduate din sila to become our customers also very soon.
Yeah.
Di ba?
But I believe it's a synergistic relationship can be done.
Yes, very synergistic. Pero ito yung worry ko, Randel, and this is something na I'd want to be able to clarify with all of our listeners or all of our, attendees today. Pag wala ka ngayong value, you will be taken out of the equation.
Yeah.
Madali ka ng palitan ng computer eh. Madali ka ng palitan ng DIY eh. Yung
Kung
do it yourself.
Kung order taker ka lang, out ka na sa picture.
Wala ka na. Kung seller ka na, order taker, wala ka na. So kailangan ngayon, you have to put yourself higher level value. As I've said, I salute all of you for attending this masterclass. That just means tinataas nyo yung value nyo eh. Kasi oras ng financial advisor, mataas ang value, hindi ka naman mawawala ng trabaho eh.
Yeah, agreed.
Hindi ka mawawala ng trabaho lahat ito.
Alam mo, the big bust in the 90s and the early 2000s, bank assurance. Nagagalit yung mga, 'di ba, agencies and everything. Bakit ganyan? Blah blah blah. I mean, it was a big it was noisy back then, 'di ba? I remember I was part of the corporate. It was very hard to defend the actions of the company and stuff like that. Ang hirap. Pero 20 years after, nawala ba yung agency force? Hindi. Lumaki yung agency force. Ano nangyari? Lumaki lang yung market. I think people need to understand that there is kasi unang-una mga kapatid, no, sobrang daming uninsured, unbanked, uninvested. So these digital platforms are now reaching out to them. 'Di ba? Ikaw ba kakausapin mo ba ang 16 years old para offeran? Hindi, 'di ba? But GCash can do that for them. So mga ganun bagay or sobrang liit ng income, 'di ba? 500 lang
Actually
pwede.
Nga, Randel, dapat ang iniisip nila, okay nga yan, hinahanda nila for me.
Exactly.
Diba yung mga digital platform hinahanda nila for me. Kasi eventually gagraduate yan sa akin. Kasi hindi naman yan pwedeng tumagal dyan ng dyan lang eh.
Nasa digital na rin kayo. Yun yung question mo. So the platform, because mayroong magit ng Lazada, yes. Trivia, alam mo ba, lalabas ako sa Lazada Live para din sa mga Lazada products na sabi ko, bakit ako ba gagawin nyo? Hindi, tuturo ka lang. Okay, sige. May Lazada rin akong gagawin para sa kanila. Anyway, any more questions? Maybe we can take it one more. We don't want to take the time of Boss Rex. Anybody more question?
Napunta pala tayo na, alas 10 na
Oo
pala.
ito tawag namin dito chismisan, no? Tawag na intelligent chismisan. So, I'm gonna announce it. So, I'm doing a series kasi alam mo all about education. So, I will do series about GCash, about ING, about Lazada, all of these things. Shopee di pa tumatawag, no? But all of these things will come into fruition. Basta ang goal natin is to educate and open the doors for you. What you need to do ngayon, advisors, is to do what you need to do. Advise well, plan well, reach out to people, educate them, diba? Don't worry about all these disruptions kasi if you're a person of value, the disruptions will not affect you. It might even help you. Just like the story of the bank assurance, naalala ko yun, daming galit na galit. Hirap na hirap i-explain kung bakit papasok ang mga kumpanya sa bank assurance, papatayin na daw ba ang mga ahente. I think I remember attending one convention. That was people were so agitated. Pero wala naman nangyari, di ba? Lumaki pa nga yung industry. Dumami pa yung advisors. You know, at that time, that they're just probably just 11, 14,000. Today was like 50, 60,000. So, did it affect? No. Did it
Randall, with a penetration rate of 2%, we don't have to complain. 2%.
Sobrang layo pa natin. So, parting words, Boss Rex, before we formally call it the night. Anything that you want to share with them?
Well, I guess I wish everyone all the very best. We have a lot of work to do. Lagi kong sinasabi, we only have a chance to become a prosperous nation if we will have prosperous individuals and families.
Yes.
If we don't get to that point, we will never become that prosperous country we dream of. Pero ako, sinasalang-alang ko yung objective na yan in all of your hands, in all of your shoulders. Kasi feeling ko talagang financial advisors are key to make that happen.
Agree.
So, try to do more, try to reach out to more people, try to change more lives. And, we're banking on you to make the direction of this country change for the better. You will have a big, big role in it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rex. So we have formally concluded the 10 sessions. I'm sure mamimiss nyo tong MWF as 7 to 9-ish. 9-ish, no? 7 to 9-ish natin. Again, the videos are there, although we only keep it for 2 weeks. Your graduations is on Wednesday. Maybe if Boss Rex can be available, maybe say hi to you and give you words of encouragement. Marvin and everybody's gonna say hi to you. And then don't forget, okay, right, Rex, they need to listen to Dodong, di ba?
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course.
Don't miss it
of
out.
Course.
So don't listen to Dodong on Friday, and me on Monday. And that's it. I've already announced that we're going to have April session for masterclass. For those of you asking, yes, already, I'm going to put up the poster already. You can now start signing up. You can tell your groups. Again, at the end of the day, this is not just about making more money. It's about making a difference in the people's lives. So again, sobrang galing po. You learn from Rex and so forth and so on. I hope that not only were you encouraged, you really learned a lot from that. With that, thank you very much, guys. Bye, guys.